All right, welcome to the season podcast, episode 18. This is a week 14 reaction show and week 15 preview. Reminder to check out our social channels on Instagram, at the season pod, YouTube. Check out the YouTube channel. Everything you hear, if you only listen from an audio standpoint on Spotify or Apple, everything you hear can also be watched. So check us out on our YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube, just look for at the season pod, SZN, at the season pod, and check us out on there as well. Because some of this stuff is better with video, right? You want to see Nick's beautiful face? I tell you, you can see his big ass, but he doesn't usually stand up in this show, so you only get to see his beautiful face. Is that okay? Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Nick, it's a big week. We will soon, in the not too distant future, be in Las Vegas witnessing Zach Brown at the Sphere. I have been playing. I haven't prepped as well this week because I watch, every time I go to Vegas, I watch Vegas Vacation for a good portion of the week. I've watched it 6 times already this week.
Is that going to be us?
Yeah, so I'm going to try to, my prep is a little bit more condensed this week because I had to spend more time watching Vegas Vacation.
I'm going to watch it on the plane.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. Looking forward. I've never been to the Sphere. We're going to check that out, see how that thing goes. We'll let everyone know how that show is. I heard it's a little weird. I heard it's like dark and twisted.
I've only seen it from the outside. It looks amazing, but
I'm talking about Zach Brown's version of the Sphere. I heard it's weird.
Really?
Like dark.
I've never been.
Yeah.
Have you been inside the Sphere yet?
No, this will be a first for me.
I've heard it's like a trip.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be.
Outside looks amazing. Like what they can do with it is really, really, really cool.
We're doing double-decker 6s on that.
I don't think you should. I think you might throw up on someone in front of you.
Really, really good point. Remind everybody about mini pods. So we had a mini pod this week on the Eagles. It was a Monday Night Football preview. We also talked about some weirdness in the AFC, how from a playoff standpoint, it's basically upside down relative to what we thought before the season. We'll get into that a little bit as the show goes on. I want to just alert everyone on this show to stay with us because later on in the show, we're going to get to the Eagles and talk about Eagles-Chargers that was this past Monday night. And just a warning that Nick has watched, and he'll generally watch a good like portion of it on the All-22 Coaches film, but Nick has watched every single offensive play from this game. Now, to be clear, every other game, the bulk of it is being watched, but this one was watched with a whole new level of detail. And I want to encourage everyone to stick around for this segment because it will get interesting. In fact, so interesting that I'm a little concerned that I might lose my podcast partner. I mean, we're talking either consultant, offensive coordinator, maybe even head coach if things don't get right over there. Because I don't know if you guys have ever seen Good Will Hunting, but there's a scene towards the end where Ben Affleck believes so much in Matt Damon, right? He wants him to like reach his potential. And he believes so much in him. He's like, one day. Because every morning he shows up to pick Matt Damon up. And they go ride around aimlessly in his car. And he goes, one day, I want to pick you up. I want to go knock on that door and have you not be there. Because that means Matt Damon went on to bigger and better things. And he used like his genius IQ, his amazing brain to go do something great. Now, granted, it wasn't necessarily that. He went to see about a girl, right? Minnie Driver, the girl he did the movie with. He finally went and said, I'm out of here. I want a better life, right? Just one day, Nick.
Is Philly that
when
girl
I pick
for me?
you up on the way to the podcast, I want to knock on that door and have you not be there. Right? And if that happens, we're going to do this show and we're going to come in. I'm going to be sitting here and there's going to be an empty chair across from me. I'm going to be like, this show is so damn good that I lost my podcast partner. And we're going to all of a sudden cut to a reel of you standing on the sideline in Philly fixing your headset and all this. All right, line up. Let's go. 11 personnel. Line up. And if that happens, I want 50% of all your pay because I'm going to be sitting here broke without you.
I'll tell you what, if I ever was an OC and that ever did happen, I would be in the booth without, I know I've talked about getting in the booth. I would be there with no distractions, with a Zen ready to go, locked in with my electrolytes, with everything in front of me.
Next to Fangio?
I would do the Andy Reid. I would have index cards of all my first 15s for all quarters, all my situations. And I would take the emotion out of it, and I'd just be like, hey, well, this is what my quarterback likes. Yeah. We're going to get into that later. I'm going to run what my quarterback has repped 1,000 times, and he's just going to dial it up, and he's just going to crush them.
I could picture you in the booth for like a late season game or a playoff game for that matter, sitting next to Vic Fangio and hitting Vic, being like, I got this, Vic. I know it's been tough for you to watch this stuff play out. I got this, right? And then changing everything. I hope it doesn't happen. I don't want to lose my podcast partner, so just stick with me.
I have a feeling that we'll be doing this.
If your phone rings with a Philly area code, just ignore it from me. I think all the fans will be, no, Nick, you pick that damn phone up. But I want you to ignore it, okay? Here's the other thing I was worried about for you as far as getting a phone call. Old Man Rivers. I mean, was it that Adam Sandler line? Old Man Rivers, zip it or I'll break your hip. So hopefully Phillip Rivers doesn't break a hip. At 44 years old, Phillip Rivers, as everybody knows, has been signed to the practice squad, for that matter, has been signed to the Indianapolis Colts. This is fascinating. Now, when Nick and I played, at least when I know it was for sure when I played, maybe it changed towards the end of your career. It used to be that to be eligible for the practice squad, so the practice squad has grown to like 10 players. It used to be like 8. It used to be that you had to have under a certain number of like credited seasons. So you had to be a very inexperienced player to be a practice squad player. Now anyone can be. So like, first of all, it's hilarious to think that he could be on practice squad, because when I was playing, it used to mean that like you haven't broken through yet. And then once you're activated and all that, you became ineligible for practice squad moving forward. Now anyone can be on it. So he goes to the Colts at 44 years old. By the way, dude is a grandfather. Okay, he is a grandpa playing in the NFL.
Has this ever been done?
I don't think it has. I looked it up and I couldn't find anything, and I don't believe that it has. The difference with him at 44 years old, as people know, is he took 5 years off. He hasn't played since the 2020 season, which was the 2021 playoffs in January. They actually played pretty well. They lost a wild card game to the Bills.
Yeah.
He finished the game trying to throw a Hail Mary. So unlike other 44-year-old quarterbacks like Tom Brady, Vinny Testaverde, Warren Moon, those are three others, those guys didn't take 5 years off. Okay, so Phillip Rivers has taken 5 years off. The Colts lost Daniel Jones and may have lost Riley Leonard. That's not for sure. Riley hasn't gone to IR or anything, but his knee's bothering him. They have Brett Rippon on the roster, the Boise State product, who is serviceable. He's on practice squad as well, though. Phillip Rivers is older than 13 head coaches in the league.
Including his
right
own.
now, including his own and his own offensive coordinator, Jim Bob Cooter. What a name, by the way. My God, that's fantastic. Where do you think that guy's from? Phillip has 10 kids. One of the kids is older than Riley Leonard, who would start this game if he were healthy. Older than Riley Leonard, one of his children. He has 7 daughters and 3 sons. Here's the catch, though. And I don't think this is that big of a deal to Phillip, but it's still interesting. If he were to be elevated to the active roster, his clock for the Hall of Fame would reset. He's a semifinalist for next year's class because he's been out. It'll be 5 years next fall. He's a semifinalist. And I think a lot of us agree. It's debatable because no Super Bowl and all that, but he's one of the most productive players of all time.
Yeah.
So I think he's a Hall of Famer. But if he stays on practice squad, his eligibility will not be affected. So if he just stayed on practice squad and didn't play at all this year, he could still enter the Hall of Fame next year. Which is why to be very clear, I think it's why they put him on practice squad to start. Just to say, let's get you in here and figure out if this is really going to work. Here's the other thing. He spent 8 years with Shane Steichen in San Diego. They're buddies. They talk every week.
He knows this offense inside and out better than anyone.
Yeah.
Probably better than Shane.
And here's who Indy's going to see the next 4 weeks. And by the way, I don't think Indy's going to make the playoffs. I hate saying it because at one time they were 8-1. This is probably not a playoff team. Want to know why? They're by NFL modeling, it's like 32%. And here's why. They play the 10-3 Seahawks, the 9-4 Niners, the 9-4 Jaguars, and the 8-5 Texans. And the Texans are one of the most dangerous teams in football. 32% chance to make the playoffs. It's unfortunate because they went all in to get Sauce Gardner. All in. Gave up 2 first-round picks. Now, granted, Sauce will be there next year. But they felt they had a shot this year to make a run. Nick, I don't know what you think. I have my doubts we'll see him activated. I think it's like another coach you bring in the building, and it's a fun way to do it because he and Shane are boys. But if we do, my God, I'll be watching.
Yeah.
I just doubt we'll see him activated.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an easy way for them to, bring in an extra coach, put him on practice squad, and have him run scout team.
Yeah.
I would love to see footage of him running scout team because I know he's just going to dice up anyone.
He'll be intense, too.
Listen, he's been coaching high school ball, so that means he's been around football. That means he's probably been at practice throwing it around. He's constantly been throwing. I mean, even when we're, like, coaching flag football, like we're throwing the little football around. You can't help it. If you just we love throwing the balls. We love all those different things. So I'm sure he's been doing that. And the way he throws it, I mean,
that funny throwing motion, does that make his arm last longer, maybe?
I don't know.
That little short kind of, he's got that weird motion.
I will say this. If for some reason he ever did get activated and he was playing and he wanted to delay the Hall of Fame induction, all those things, my one plead to the NFL is please, please, please mic him up for every single game. His mic'd ups are golden. I remember even in Philadelphia, there were some mornings after his mic'd up games where Carson, Nate, and I would sit there and we would watch, 10 minutes of his mic'd up, and we just needed like a laugh. It was just gold.
He's one of those guys that talks trash that doesn't swear. It's the best.
Well, he's like Brandon Graham.
Yeah,
like he talks smack. He's not going to swear, and he's just a great dude. But he likes to talk smack. He likes to say things. He likes to call out blitzes. He likes to say different things.
He's like, how about that flip and throw?
Yeah,
it's just the best.
I remember we played him. I think it was when I was in Jacksonville. last game of the season or something like that, and he was mic'd up. It was a night game, and he had this huge throw. It might have been an 80-yard touchdown. It probably only went like 20 yards in the air, but he got hit and he's on the ground, and like that mic'd up segment when like our guy's helping him up, Yannick's like helping him up, and he's like talking smack in his face, and
Yannick didn't like it either.
He didn't like it. Like he just has like, whoa, he's like yelling and everything. Is like this.
Remember the ref was next to him.
Yes.
And Yannick told the guy like, tell him to stop doing that. And Phillip, I think the ref's even like, dude, it's Phillip Rivers. Man.
Like this is what he does.
Yeah,
so.
you can let him do it, right? It is. So the other way to look at this too is if you're a free agent quarterback that is, and if you haven't spent time on an active roster, then I get it. But if you've been on an active roster and have some reps in the league and proven that you're at least serviceable, imagine being one of those guys if you're unsigned right now or on somebody else's practice squad, and the Colts are in desperation mode where it's like emergency situation. Like we got to sign somebody, and they sign a guy who's been out for 5. Now, granted, one of the most productive players of all time. But you sign a guy that's 44, it's been out of the league for 5 years, and you're like on a couch waiting to be signed. Imagine how that feels. You're like, I mean, this guy's 44. You won't sign me, right? What does that say about any of these guys that are unsigned free agents right now?
I think the big thing is, they still have a chance to make the playoffs and do what they want to do. They still have great players. I mean, they've shown that throughout the course of the season. There's no one on practice squad that knows this offense like Phillip. Yeah. I mean, they probably looked at this, and Phillip's been in the building. He's been at Indianapolis Colt. Like, he's been there. He's had success doing so. He was a captain. That's where he ended his career. So it doesn't make sense in the sense that he's been out for 5 years. It's like it's a great storyline. It's very intriguing. It's very interesting. But at the same time, like I do see, he has the knowledge of this offense. So much of being a great quarterback is having extreme knowledge to know where to go with the ball quickly. And Phillip is one of the best at doing that, getting the ball out quick, getting to the right spot, throwing the ball before the receiver's open. He knows how to do all those things because he knows the offense. He can recognize coverage, and he can do those things at a high level, get it in the playmaker's hands. If he doesn't do that, he's another coach in the building. I mean, who better than to have Phillip Rivers in a quarterback room on practice squad to constantly talk to his quarterbacks, these young players who don't know the offense as well, to help him out. And then through the course of a game, to be on the sideline sitting there and helping him out. Like, I don't know, like, I guess, I was thinking, like, if he was an emergency quarterback, but that means he's activated, which also delays the time. But
right.
It's an intriguing storyline.
Where would you put percentage chance? I gave percentage chance 32% that they make the playoffs, but what is your percentage chance that he is activated and is on the field in live action before the end of the regular season?
I mean, I will say this:
simple answer.
No, it's not. It's really not. I mean, like, part of me is thinking.
I say 25%. I go a
a
little higher than that.
But for
35,
for Phillip to do this, to go there, to be on practice squad, he's going to be in the building. He's going to put back on the cleats. He's going to put back on the jersey. He's going to go to practice. Maybe he goes there thinking, I'm just going to be an assistant coach. I'm going to be in the room. I'm going to help out. But I have to think once he goes out there, and if he still has some juice and can still do it, he's going to throw that to the wind and be like, activate me. I want to play.
You know how sore he's going to be.
But like, what if he does go play?
There's soreness and there's old man soreness. And old man soreness is no joke.
Because he's older than you.
He's 3 years old, 4 years older than I am.
And you constantly have stayed in shape.
Yeah, but but he's not running routes. But you know how sore he's going to be, the movements that he just thinks he's been doing that he...
Listen, I would always stay in shape, but after training camp, no matter what, because you have so many reps, it's every day basically you're doing stuff, like everything gets sore. Like because there's nothing that can prepare you for like training. And I know this isn't training camp, but then you get to hits, and it's like the first couple games after getting hit, your body hasn't gotten used to getting hit. But after, like, everyone always asks, like, it's like after 3 or 4 games, like the soreness, like you recover quicker. But I was also younger. Yeah, I don't know what it'd be like when I'm 44 and haven't played.
I would hurt. It would hurt right now.
Yeah.
How old are you? 36.
Like, if I went and took a big hit, I would be sore.
Well, you're 36. Let me reframe that. That I mentioned 30-year-olds that, like, are you offended you weren't called?
I think they know. I was there at the end of my career. I think they knew when I hung it up. I was done. I don't know.
I'd be insulted if I were you.
I'm not insulted.
Okay, so what about? Look, you're a good father. I consider myself. I love my kids, but there's sometimes when I'm like, I gotta get out of the house. I don't have 10 kids. Now, some of his kids are quite a bit older, but is it part of, like, he gets the call and he's like, man, I wouldn't mind getting the hell out of here. Honey, you got him next. You got him for the next month. You want to get out of the house with 10 kids?
I see that perspective.
It's a good way.
And there's times when, like, the boys are tantrum and stuff. And man, maybe coaching, maybe. Yeah. But then I'm always like, I'm really grateful that I can be around and do the things I do. But at the same time, how cool is it if he does play? And after a game, he's holding his grandchild. after a game and like taking a photo after he like leads the Colts to a victory while he's activated. That is an amazing storyline. Adds to his career. It's a really cool storyline and it's fun. I think it's really neat that it's Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
If it was someone else, I don't know if I'd be as intrigued, but I just love Phillip. I've always been a fan of him. I love his personality. I love the way he's played the game. I love the way he represented himself, and he's just a gunslinger, man. Yeah. And he's a tough dude. Like the AFC Championship game that he played in, the game before he had torn his MCL and ACL and braced it up and like went out there and just added to his legend. They lost, but threw over 200 yards and was still dicing him up a little bit. I mean, guy's just a legend.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite competitors to watch of all. Just his like competitive demeanor and how much he brings, how much he wants it. I guess I'm not surprised that we're at 44 years old. This guy's wired a different way. He doesn't like. I'm not surprised he said yes. Let's at least give it a shot.
Another thing that's interesting too, and I know we talked about it earlier in the year and it's a hot topic, is Carly Ursay-Gordon just having a headset on. She's always had a headset on. She knows the communication. I wonder if she was in. I mean, obviously she was in on agreeing to this. But maybe she's like, we need someone there that can communicate better. I don't know. I'd have to think that, she has – this is a point where, like, her knowledge and what she's been listening to, she probably has more insight than any owner ever has of what the team needs. So it's a very unique decision, but maybe her listening into everything is like, hey, we're missing this key piece, especially with losing Daniel Jones. Like, we need someone in here that can communicate everything because we're lacking that now with younger players. So, hey, bringing Phillip back, it seems strange, but maybe from a – communication standpoint and a knowledge standpoint, like they need that in the QB room.
Even if he doesn't play. And what's also cool is Phillip has always worn number 17. And because Daniel Jones went to IR, 17 now becomes available.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he can wear 17, which is like
no way.
Poor Daniel Jones, man. It's like he's had a career year. It started to slide a bit. Unfortunately, got hurt. And they're like, hey, man, we're going to move you to IR. And by the way, give us that jersey. we gotta hand it over to Phillip when he gets here.
Tough.
So he's gonna again. Phillip's not on the active roster right now, but he's gonna get number 17 as a practice squad player. Phillip Rivers on the practice squad. The NFL is just the world's greatest reality show. Phillip Rivers on the practice squad for the Colts. Unbelievable. All right, let's take a look at some Week 14 stuff. We're gonna kind of build through this, and I love hitting these Week 14 or these reactions when we do by Wednesday because there's been a lot of, like, some stuff has already been vetted out. Everyone's watched highlights. Everyone's seen some analysis of this stuff. But we like to get a little more big picture with what we saw in Week 14 and what it means moving forward. Some interesting things that took place. Houston pulling off what I would say a minor upset from a spread standpoint. They were +4, I think it went off at, against the Chiefs. Now, a lot of us are kind of delusional about the Chiefs. We keep thinking, like, they'll figure it out. Like, I took the Chiefs – I think -4.5 in that game. And I'm the idiot that was like, oh, they're at home. Must win. I think I parlayed them in a money line too, where I'm like, they're at least going to win. And I just refuse to accept what my eyes are seeing. And that is they're down 3 offensive linemen. In critical moments, the Chiefs just simply don't execute anymore. Now, could it change for next year? Sure. But right now, they simply don't execute. Rashee Rice dropping the ball. Travis Kelce. These are good football players. Travis Kelce dropping the ball. Mahomes missing throws. Very questionable 4th down decisions. I mean, Andy Reid going for it when your team is tied 10-10. So not only is your offense not doing much, but your defense is playing really well.
Yeah.
And Houston's offense is not very good.
Yeah.
The Houston's offense is adequate, not great. And to go forward in your own territory on 4th down is reckless. It's an unnecessary risk in that situation because if you don't get it, I think you're kind of telling your defense too, like, you guys are doing great, but like we can't win like this, and we got to go for it. And if you don't get it, and by the way, their offense hasn't been very good in those situations this year, at the very least, Houston's getting a field goal right there, and that could be the difference in the game. I was very surprised. Andy Reid admitted it was a mistake. He got caught up in the moment, got caught up in the emotion.
Yep.
Very surprised they did that. But this Chiefs team, I mean, are we witnessing the end of the dynasty? I don't know about that, but this Chiefs team, going back to my prediction in Week 4, where I'm like, I don't think this is a playoff team. And then they started to correct things, and I was like, oh, boy, I might have been wrong. This is not a playoff team, obviously.
Yeah.
And the biggest difference, now granted, offensive linemen are missing. Mahomes is not healthy. He's hobbled a little bit with a knee going on too.
Yeah, he was heating it up on the sideline.
Yeah, and he doesn't look right throwing the ball. He's missing throws, just a hair late on some throws too. I saw a lot of good throws that weren't great throws that led to incompletions. Like that deep one to Tyquan Thornton. That should have been a touchdown. Tyquan Thornton should have caught it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a great throw.
Yeah.
He threw it behind him a hair, and that's why it was incomplete.
Yeah.
Whereas Mahomes almost always puts that on the front shoulder, go make a play.
Yeah.
So it's just different. Houston, on the other hand, this very dangerous team you don't want to see right now. They get after the passer. The offense is just good enough. What we saw, so I guess what I'm getting here is it was big what we saw the other night with Houston beating the Chiefs and watching the Chiefs, at least for this year, say, we're just not there, and we've got some corrections to make. We've got some changes we're going to have to make going into next season.
Well, I think this was the point of this season where everyone's like the Chiefs. I mean, everyone's been holding on to the Chiefs they're going to make a run. Like even last episode, it's like they can win all 5.
I think you were one of those people too, right?
I was, but I will say this: after watching it, the 4th down call, it is an emotional. The game's emotional. As a play caller, if you think you can just call plays from a sheet and like fans think like, oh, you're just calling play. Listen, the game is emotional. Like you're making emotional decisions. You can tell that the emotions got the best of Andy, and he knew it. Like even when he did that after playing for him and like feeling the rhythm of the game and where they were and how their offense was playing and how their defense was playing.
Unnecessary risk.
That was a punt every day of the week. And it's almost in their mind, they're thinking, and I know he's probably thinking this, we're just one play away on a 4th down. That'll be the spark that takes us the rest of the way. And that's what I felt with that call is like he's waiting for this one moment that is a spark in this tough situation on our own side of the 50 to convert, to make guys start believing again. And it didn't happen.
And what happened? Drop.
A drop. And
they had 6 drops in the game. That's the most in the Mahomes era.
Yeah, and even later in the game, the throw to Trav that was a little bit behind him. But Trav makes those catches like throughout his career. He makes it almost every single time. To like bobble it and then it like gets behind him and then it's an interception. It just is continuing. Now, is this the end of the reign? This year, yes. But you also got to think of it big picture wise. This will be the first time the Kansas City Chiefs since 2015 really, or 14, that they will have a full offseason of recovery, rest.
They've had 7 straight AFC title games.
Exactly.
7
so they
straight.
have, and I will say this, when you play an AFC, NFC title game, the Super Bowl, your offseason is a blink of an eye.
That's a good point.
I mean, it is crazy to think, like, I remember when we won our Super Bowl, it seemed like we had this celebration, went home, but you're always doing stuff because there's marketing, there's events, and all of a sudden you're back in the facility in off-season training. And then all of a sudden, off-season training's a blur, and you're like, oh my gosh, we're 5 weeks away from the season. And then all of a sudden the season starts, and you're like, I haven't even to do that as long as they've done it. This might, as tough as this year is, I know Chiefs fans are down, everyone's down on them. It might be just what they need to reset at the right time to then make another run. Even the Patriots had a lull for a long period. They won a couple of Super Bowls, then they had this lull, and then they routed off several more.
Like Act 2, basically.
Yeah,
right?
I think Act 2 is coming. It might not be next year, but this is a reset to now you have time to look at your roster more deeply. You have a time to look at your coaching staff because there's been a lot of coaches that have been there for the whole reign. Maybe they're getting close to like thinking they want to retire. Maybe those coaches step down, retire, bring in some new blood, some fresh blood, and re-energize the franchise that, I mean, they played in the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, they did, but like, let's say this is the end of Act 1. It's fair to wonder, like, is Andy, he's not going to answer this question now, but when the season's over and he looks in the mirror and he asks himself, do I have enough for Act 2? Right now, they're going to need to make some changes on their staff, right? Some people should have done it after last season. Guys, they made the Super Bowl last year. They got crushed by the Eagles, but
yeah, they
made
had a
the
great
Super Bowl.
They great AFC champions.
But like offensively, I think with Chiefs fan, there's some similar frustration to the Eagles. The run game is bizarre. Now, granted, guys are hurt up front, but the gun runs, like they'll gash you for like 6 yards in an under center run, and then all of a sudden they'll come out with like inside zone where the back is offset weak, and it takes like 3 seconds to develop, and they lose 3 yards. So there's a lot of head-scratching things going on with play calling. Matt Nagy's the offensive coordinator. There's some very head-scratching things going on play calling-wise too. So Andy's got his work cut out for him, assuming he's all in moving forward. To be very clear, at the end of the season, if Andy goes, I think it's my time to move on, it would not surprise me.
Yeah.
But if he is all in, which would also not surprise me, if he's all in, he has some work to do. Not only with their GM and finding new pieces on their roster to fill some holes, but he's got to kind of remake a coaching staff, especially on the offensive side of the ball, to get some pieces in there that make this make sense a little bit more. So we'll see with Andy. I think look, credit to Houston. They started 0-3, and now they have an 80% or 87% chance to make the playoffs. So what they're doing is awesome. Yeah, I don't want to take it away from them. Their defense is the real deal, and they are dangerous. But there are some things that took place that night that further bring along this conversation with Andy Reid of like, Is there going to be an act two? There will be an act two with Patrick Mahomes. He's young enough, no matter what they do, he will be back in the mix. Is that act two with Andy Reid?
And Travis Kelce.
And, well, that's the one I think they should probably consider moving on from.
Yeah.
I was a tight end. I have a mountains of respect for Travis Kelce and what he's capable of, but he's just not the same player, right? And he's obviously taken up a big portion of what they pay players too. And they need more youth at that position. Could they keep him around? Sure, but they need more youth and playmaking at that position.
Yeah,
right?
and you got to ask yourself too with Trav, like if for some reason he's not the premier tight end that's in the game plan, is he going to want to do that?
Yeah.
Because that's a different
He's
role.
got other aspirations too.
Yeah, and he's doing so many other things. He's doing them at a high level, and he's got a lot going on in life. He's had an amazing career, a Hall of Fame career. I mean, there's going to be a lot of questions, but they're going to have time. They're going to have the most time they've had in a long time in the offseason to really think through all these decisions. I think everything you said right there is a fair assessment, and it won't happen until the offseason. But I will say this. A team that really doesn't have much of a chance now to make the playoffs. I think there's still like a small percentage chance.
Yeah, they're not totally out.
They're not totally out.
They need people to lose.
They still, I don't think anyone believes, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you and I don't believe. As long as they find a way to believe in that facility, anything is possible. They have the leadership there to do something special still. I still know that from playing for Andy and like Pat's there, Trav's there, Matt Nagy's there. They're all there. They've done it. They know this. I haven't seen it on the film. There's too many fundamental errors to like think they can overcome, and they're losing an Arrowhead left and right. So, but I mean, they still got a chance, and I know they're still going to put their best foot forward. Like they want to find a way. They're not just like, all right, the season's over. They're going to go to work and they're going to try to find a way. Even with Pat's press conference, you can see, it hurts, it's tough, but it's a little bit of adversity he's facing, but he's going to be all right. He's a leader, and they're going to find a way to finish the season strong no matter what.
So Mahomes was, again, hobbled by a knee. His passer rating in this game was This is almost hard to watch because even if you hate the Chiefs, the NFL's more fun to watch when the Chiefs are good.
Yeah.
The Chiefs are slated to play on Christmas Day against the Broncos. That game doesn't have the allure that it once had. And I'm sure when the league scheduled that game, they're like, that could be for the AFC West. That's not going to be the case. But Mahomes was hobbled by a knee. 19.8 passer rating. His career worst. 19.8. 3 interceptions, 42% completion. Now, granted, 6 drops doesn't help you, but it's almost hard to watch at times because we've never seen this version of the Chiefs, and there may be some changes ahead. All right, Rams, huge bounce. So if we do the power rankings, I think Nick and I would both agree, like we put the Rams at the top or very near the top, 1 or 2. The Rams, to me, what they did in Carolina was tough. It was a 10 a.m. Pacific game. Matt Stafford threw a couple of key interceptions that changed the game. Excusable loss. The Rams, to me, are the most well-rounded team, probably the best team in football. I think they're better than the Broncos. I think they're better than the Patriots. They bounced back in a big way against against Arizona, at Arizona. They won 45-17. Get this. Talking about dominance, playing well at the right time. Through 3 quarters, the Rams had 445 total yards, 27 first downs, and they averaged 8.2 yards a play. Stafford had 281 yards passing and 3 touchdowns, on his way to win MVP. He's still squarely in the driver's seat there. Drake May's there as well, but I think Matt Stafford is on his way. And Kyron Williams and Blake Corum, their running back duo, had 212 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns between the two of them. It was such a blowout that Jimmy G came in the fourth quarter. The Rams were just chilling in the fourth quarter, and the defense was fantastic too. So the Rams are back on track. They have some late season matchups, one against the Seahawks. It's going to be great. But I think the Rams are the best team in football right now. I still believe that, despite the fact they don't have the best record. But.
No, I agree with you. And I think, too, it's not good for the Arizona Cardinals and Jonathan Gannon. I mean, that's a defensive head coach that you want at least. Like, it's like the Houston Texans. Great defense, solid defense. Well, DeMeco Ryans is a defensive head coach. If you hire someone that, like, their specialty is a certain side of the ball, you expect that side of the ball to be dominant and then the other side to be, like, solid.
Yeah.
This is not the case. Honestly, I watched the first drive, and then I was, like, putting Bodie down for a nap or something. And I remember watching, and, Jacoby Brissett just right down the field, boom, 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 like 3 for 3, 4 for 4, like 60-something yards and a touchdown. I'm like, man, Arizona looks good. And before you know it, they're just getting crushed. And it's not good for Jonathan Gannon. His overall head coaching record in Arizona, historically, it's been tough to win there. They haven't consistently won there, but he's 15-31 in regular season. His first season was 4-13. Then he was 4-13. Yeah, 4-13, 8-9, and now he's 3-9. So not looking good. I know his contract goes through 2027. So
he's on. We're gonna do coaching. Coaching seat temperatures later in the show. and he is in our discussion at 3-10 this year. Sometimes it's based on how it looks. You made a great point. They don't have Kyler Murray, even though a lot of people believe Kyler Murray's not the future. You at least want to see your defense tighten up and not do what it did here. It looks like a team that's basically starting to mail it in.
Yeah.
Not good for Jonathan Gannon.
Not good for the franchise.
He's going to be in our discussion later. Very interesting result. So Pitt goes to Baltimore this past weekend and takes the AFC North lead. This is Steelers beating Baltimore. We thought Baltimore was going to win like 7 in a row. They won 5 in a row, and now they've lost a couple in a row. Steelers completely flipped the script and win at Baltimore. To start the game, Aaron Rodgers hit DK Metcalf on a 52-yard play. To show you how stale the Steelers' offense has been, it's the first time the Steelers completed a 20-plus yard pass in the air in over a month, since October.
This was with Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback.
Well, and he was out for a little bit of it because Mason Rudolph had been in.
Still got
but
DK Metcalf.
They were like inept as an offense as far as pushing it down the field. Aaron had a great game, 23 of 34 for 284 and a touchdown, was not sacked once. The Ravens actually outgained the Steelers, but the Ravens sucked in the red zone. They were like 2 for 6 or whatever it was. The Steelers now, by virtue of winning that game, have a 67% chance of making the playoffs. That means winning the division. I don't think that division's going to get a wild card team based on what's going on right now. And Baltimore falls down to 33% chance to make the playoffs.
So based off math, it's one of the two.
It's one of the two. Yeah, that's right. 67-33. That's a good point. Aaron Rodgers was 3 for 3 for 121 yards on passes of 20 or more through the air, 20 or more yards through the air. Now, why and how did that happen? DK Metcalf had 12 targets. So they decided before the game, you know what, forget all that. We're not a great rushing team. We're going to take shots to our big boys. And DK made some plays. Aaron made some plays. Baltimore's still not right. Lamar's still not right. Like, he ran it a little more in this game, but, man, they've struggled. And what does that do? I hate to say it. Later in the show, it puts John Harbaugh in our discussion as well. I'm a huge John Harbaugh fan. I love stability, and he's been there forever, and he's a fantastic football coach. But sometimes, like, there's a window here for Baltimore. We talked about this earlier in the year. There's a window here with Lamar. Now, granted, this has been a tough year with injuries, so you could say the window's still there. It's just been injuries. Yes. But there's a window here. So as ownership, you've got to ask yourself, like, has it gotten stale? Has it gotten Andy Reid and Philly type stale, where we never won a Super Bowl? We got close, but we never won a Super Bowl. Maybe we need to change things up a little bit, right? It's worked for other really good franchises at times. It's not just saying, hey, John Harbaugh sucks, let's fire him. It's just, it's gotten stale. We got to find it. For that reason, and we're not giving our rating yet, but John's going to be in our discussion later in the show.
Yeah, I'll save my thoughts on that one till later. And it's crazy because, a week or two ago, we're talking about Tomlin. Is it time, right?
Yeah.
And, we did a poll, and I would say most people that voted said, yes, it's time to move on. But as I'm looking at this game and what they did, my mind for some reason went to, are they starting to peak at the right time, which is crazy.
And do just enough to keep Mike Tomlin around?
No, not even that. I'm going to make a bigger statement is the word I'm looking for. Dare we say this could be like the New York Giants under Eli Manning, where they let's just go 2000, like Super Bowl years. I think it's 2007.
They're the hot wild card team.
Wild card, 10-6, win the Super Bowl.
I'll bet the other side if you want.
No, I know. I'm just saying, dare we say, and then when
if you're willing to give money away, I'll bet the other side.
So they're wild card the one time they won, and then they won a not a great NFC East in 2011. They went 9-7 to enter the playoffs and ended up winning a Super Bowl. The Eagles were 8-8 that year. The Cowgirls were 8-8 that year. Mm-hmm. And the Redskins were 5-11. So,
only thing I'll add is this division sucks.
But
all the coaches could conceivably be gone.
Listen,
that's how bad the division is.
The year the Giants won it, they found a way into 2011 season. This is what I wrote down. The division wasn't great. Like I said, Eagles were 8-8, Cowgirls were 8-8, Redskins were 5-11. Is this? Who knows?
Yep,
I mean, with Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf connecting at the right time.
Maybe.
Anything's possible.
Their defense is built to get after the passer, not stop the run.
There's a chance.
Yeah, can Aaron peak at the right time given his age, right? Like, it's all fair.
Do they finally figure it out and say, screw this? Like, we're trying to, run the ball. We're trying to do this. Like, there's something about it as an offense when you finally back against the wall and you just go to your receivers and your quarterback and be like, listen, it's on y'all. Everything's on y'all. We're going to sling this thing. We're going to throw the ball, make a play. There's something in your brain that changes it. It's like, you're not just running plays and running your offense. It's like, no, the way we're winning is the ball's going to be in the air and I'm going to go get it, as opposed to like, hey, you're going to get a couple of targets a game, but we're going to be a complete offense. We're going to run the ball first. We're going to do that. We're going to do some play action. Maybe they found a formula where it's like, hey, guys, screw the run game. That's an accessory piece. Aaron, sling it. DK, receivers, make plays, aggressive. We're throwing the ball. The way we're going to win is throw the ball at defense. Come on, we got to get after the run. Who knows?
It's a lot to put on Aaron because he doesn't have the escapability that he had in his prime.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you could have Aaron throw it 60 times in his prime, and he had just enough to get away and make things happen. He doesn't have that anymore. It's a lot. Like I said, I would bet the other way on this if you want to take your way, but we'll let it be. All right, the Jags. The Jags have been a very interesting team this year with their really good start, and then they kind of normalized a little bit, and now they've just kind of gone back to being good. They tightened their grip on the AFC South with a huge victory over the Colts. 4th straight win. They have now won 5 of 6 since their bye. They're 1 game ahead of the Colts and Texans with regard to division play. They have a 98% chance by either winning their division or being a wild card team. 98% chance to make the playoffs, according to Next Gen Stats. The defense showed up, but we need to give Trevor Lawrence some credit. They scored 36 points, 244 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Trevor completed 16 passes of 10 or more yards through the air for 182 yards on longer throws. The Jaguars have scored 25 or more points in 6 straight games dating back to week 9. That's the longest streak in franchise history. So the Jags, at least offensively, are used to inconsistency, let's say, at least for the franchises, even though there's been really good years.
Yeah.
Go back to the, Fred, I'm blanking on Fred's last name, the running back. Come on.
Tanner.
No. Huh?
Taylor?
No, the running back for the Jags way back in the day.
Warner?
No.
No.
Blanking on his name. Just type in Google, Fred running back Jags.
Taylor.
Fred Taylor. Yeah, that's why. We knew that. Back in the Fred Taylor days, made the playoffs and all that. And also, at times with Blake Bortles. This team was good, right? You almost played him in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they had
not given it up.
They had the Patriots on the ropes.
So the Jags are continuing to roll. They make things. They're part of this. They'll see the Colts again as well, and they're going to make things tough on the Colts. But fun team to follow. Liam Cohen is deserving to be in the Coach of the Year discussion. Not going to get it because Mike Vrabel, I think, has a stranglehold on that, and then Ben Johnson is not far behind because I think at this point we're looking at the Bears being like they're legit. They lost to the Packers, but the Bears are legit. And do I think the Jags are legit? I think the Jags are good enough to be a playoff team. I don't know that I look at them as a real threat to make a run. The Bears, to me, I think are more dangerous than the Jaguars. And so I would put Vrabel, Ben Johnson, then Liam Cohen in that discussion. But it's cool what the Jags are doing, nonetheless.
Yeah. No, I think it's great. I think Liam Cohen's showing why he was hired there, and he's changing things there.
Yeah.
It's great for the Jacksonville franchise, and it's exciting for the NFL. And I know Jacksonville is a big overseas team. They play in London every year, so it's great for the sport if they're successful. So I agree with your coaches. Vrabel, Ben Johnson, Liam Cohen. I mean, those guys have done an outstanding job this year, and it's making the NFL more fun. It's made it a very interesting season with the success these young coaches are having.
Teams pop a lot in September, October, and we're always like, okay, this is cool. We'll talk about them, but we'll see where they're at in December. And the Jags seem to be hanging on. Conversely, Tampa has not done that. Tampa started, I think, at 1.5-1, and we're like, okay, Baker's like early season MVP. We didn't think Baker was going to win the award. We just said, hey, to this point.
At that point, he was.
If there's an award, Baker's up there. Now, Baker's dealt with some injuries, but they lost to the Saints at home, 24-20. Their offensive woes continue. He was 14 of 30 for 122, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. It's Baker's 4th straight game under 200 yards passing, which is the longest streak of his career being that bad. 4th straight game. The Bucs are now tied with Carolina for first in the NFC South. So the Bucs could make the playoffs and limp into it, basically. But Carolina, a team that's a huge roller coaster, great game, terrible game, great game, terrible game, they're right there too. The NFC South is not that interesting with Tampa and Carolina, but it's only interesting from the standpoint of, once again, it underscores, let's not overreact in September and October.
Yeah.
Because it's health and playing well at the right time.
Yep.
And the Bucs are not on the right trend right now. Maybe they sneak into the playoffs. They don't feel like a threat right now, though. Even though I love Baker and I love what he did for a good portion of the year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it just shows you too. Like, I mean, when you have success like they have the previous years with Baker, your OC like Liam Cohen gets hired away.
Yeah,
and that's what's tough about the NFL. And I know the years I was on successful teams. I mean, Kansas City's done a great job of retaining their coaches, but like in Philadelphia, like we would talk about it openly. hey guys, like don't take this moment for granted. We have everything in this building we need to win a Super Bowl. We have something here to do something special. Do not take this for granted, because what happens is, and it happened after our year, your coaches are going to get taken away. Your best players are going to get big contracts. So obviously Tampa Bay has had success offensively the last previous year. They've lost their OC. Now they started the year great, so you're like, okay, this is going to be good. But as we know, there's more film. Defensive coordinators now have new film on whatever scheme you're doing. And then midpoint of the season, the second half of the season, that's when you really realize who a team is, because now these defensive coordinators have all this film. It's all broken down. They've analyzed it. They know how to attack your offense now. Whereas the first quarter, half of the season, there's still some unpredictability where you can get the defense on their heels. Now they sort of know what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are doing, and they're having trouble doing it.
Tampa's also had injuries where you could argue they were at the right time. They weren't too late in the season. I mean, Mike Evans.
Losing Mike Evans was huge for the Bucs. Huge.
But I mean, Godwin's been out at times, and Emeka Egbuka's been out at times, and then Bucky Irving missed several games as well. The running back
that hurts.
Makes play. So even though those guys are like back, it still just threw them off.
Yeah.
And so even if you get that, this is the thing about injuries is like even if you're healthy in December, but like they all came at the wrong time and just threw off your identity and you've lost your rhythm. Baker's still not right. He's probably getting that left shoulder shot up every game.
Yeah, he's banged up.
So even though they're out there, the reality is like health has not been on their side.
Yeah.
And this is why it's such a big deal when we talk about these games as you get down the stretch, right?
For sure.
So let's give J.J. McCarthy a little bit of credit. Okay, like there's memes out there about J.J. McCarthy where it's like, and this is brutal, where like he would have been better off in a couple of the games basically just taking the snap and throwing the ball on the ground, and he would have had a better passer rating than he did throwing it around, throwing interceptions, and not completing passes and not throwing touchdowns. J.J. McCarthy, in a lot of ways, has become the laughingstock of the position as a second-year player that was hurt last year. He's become the punchline for a lot of jokes, okay? So, and I've laughed at those jokes because I never saw, honestly, I didn't see it in college. I'm like, this guy had a lot of pieces around him. They never had to win games because of him. I think it's risky to say, like, that's our guy.
They won with.
Not because.
Yeah.
I thought it was risky to say that's our guy. And then to let Sam Darnold walk and double down on it, I'm like, you guys are okay, fine. Like, hindsight 2020, even though I felt like it at the time. But we got to give him some credit.
Yeah.
So they destroyed a Commanders team whose season is basically over. He led consecutive touchdown drives to open the game. This is J.J. McCarthy. They asked a lot less of him in the second half because they had a comfortable lead. But he was solid. He was 16 to 23 for 163. Not a career day by any means. But 3 touchdowns and no turnovers. So we at least got to give him credit. Now, Jaden Daniels, I thought it was dumb to play him in the game. Their season is essentially over. He finished 9 of 20 for 78 yards and 1 interception in 4 drives, and then fell on that after he threw a pick. He got hit.
Yeah.
Fell on his left arm with that elbow that he hyperextended or dislocated, and had to come out of the game. Jaden Daniels has proven enough to be your franchise quarterback. Your season's over. Don't rush him back.
Yeah, Marcus Mariota can go out there and do a plenty good enough job.
If he's got to go out there with that massive brace on his arm, and I know he might be saying I'm ready to go, I would say don't play him. There's something else that happened in this game, though, that really pissed me off.
Yeah, it pissed me off, too.
I don't even know what year. Will you look up for us, Tanner, what year in the league Jay Ward is for the Minnesota Vikings? You know, sometimes young players they're just playing hard. And obviously, he maybe didn't mean to be dirty. But Jay Ward is the DB for the Minnesota Vikings that put the hit on Zach Ertz.
Yeah.
He entered the league in 23, so this would be...
Yeah, he's younger.
Okay, so he's a young player, right? Maybe doesn't understand how this works. And some might say, this is a low-hanging fruit that I don't want to hear. If you put it in the comments, like, we're going to delete it. Is it possible to delete comments? Because this is the worst take. And the low-hanging fruit is, where's Jay Ward supposed to hit Zach Ertz? You can't hit him high anymore. You can't hit him in the head. He has to go low. That's why Zach is hurt. BS. That was unnecessary. Zach Ertz had no power behind him. So had Zach Ertz caught the ball, gotten his feet in the ground, and lowered his shoulders, then you understand a DB being like, I got to go for the knees because I don't want to take him high. He's too big. All those things. I don't want to get hurt as a DB, so I'm going to do what I can to protect myself. That's not what happened here. Zach Ertz was airborne. He was defenseless. And Jay Ward goes for his knees in a completely unnecessary fashion and likely has put a cap on Zach Ertz's career, unfortunately. Zach's late in his career. Could he come back from this? I don't know how. I mean, we've heard it maybe more than one ligament, at least the ACL.
Yeah.
You saw Zach sobbing after the game because I think the realization is in Zach's mind, and Zach hasn't told me this, I'm just speculating.
Yeah.
The realization probably was this is probably it. right? Zach was year to year anyways from a retirement standpoint.
Yeah.
And you have a devastating knee injury like that. Thankfully, his knee wasn't in the ground. It might have been even worse. But he still tore his knee up the way he hit him.
Yeah.
And to watch Zach sob like that was, and I understand football brings about this kind of risk. I get it. I played the game. I understand. I've had many injuries. But I thought the hit was total BS. Now, I'm not going to say Jay Ward's a dirty player because Jay Ward is young and probably a little naive when it comes to this stuff. But when a guy like that catches the ball the way he did, you do not need to put your helmet into his knee. Completely unnecessary to do that. And for the record, I won't tell you who it is because he can say it himself. I spoke to a DB who's probably a Hall of Famer, not yet, but going to be, about this issue. And I said, hey, tell me, do you think that was a dirty play? Because this DB I'm talking about, who has a very big name guy, usually will take the side of DBs and say, yeah, you don't understand how hard it is for defense. The offense has all the rules in their favor. Even he was like, totally unnecessary, dirty play. Is Jay Ward a dirty player? I don't know that. I'm not going to say that. I don't know Jay Ward. I haven't watched him enough. But was that a play that was unnecessary and dirty? 100%. And I feel for Zach Ertz. It was very painful to watch that play out. And I know you were a teammate of his as well.
Yeah, I mean, just to see it, and then, you see the news, and then you see the clip, and then you see the slow-mo, and you never want to see anyone get hurt. It's a violent sport. This happens. You're one hit away from something, but like just a guy like Zach, I mean, they have a Hard Knocks going on right now, and there was a clip before all this happened where they're just talking about, coaches talking about how him and Larry Fitzgerald are like the two greatest pros that this coach has ever coached and the reasons why. And, Zach is a year younger than me entering the league. We roomed together for a couple seasons under Chip Kelly. So I got to see his work ethic, him as a player firsthand, and just like every single part of every single day, he is doing something to maximize his talent, whether it's getting ready for practice, studying the playbook, asking the quarterbacks questions after practice, recovery, during practice. Hey, how can I run this route better? There's a reason Zach has optimized his career and his skill set more than anyone I have been around. And he is the ultimate pro. He's a great teammate. He's a man of faith. I know he posted a Bible verse and excerpt because I know right now this is very difficult for him for the reasons you said. Him and his wife, Julie, and their kids, is this it? Or do I listen? He's not going to make that decision right now. I just sent him a text and just let him know I was praying. I know there's a lot going on in his life. When these things happen, you want to lean in on your faith, spend the time with the Lord in prayer and through reading of Scripture, and then with your family. And then ultimately you want to start the healing process. But, Zach is the ultimate pro, one of my favorite teammates. We had a lot of amazing moments together. My prayers are with him. I did, there's something, whenever I think of Zach, I'm not thinking about like the touchdown in the Super Bowl or the fourth down conversion. I wrote down a little story when we were in 2013. We would room together for games, and we're on this amazing hot streak of winning games. I'm playing really well. And at night, like when we get back to our room, I would always order like room service, and I would order like a club sandwich with sweet potato fries. And there was one game, I remember I got in bed. He's like, bro, what are you doing? I'm tired, man. He's like, where's the sandwich? Where's the sweet potato? I go, I'm not that hungry. He's like, no. Get on that phone and order that sandwich. You are eating that club sandwich, and you are getting those sweet potatoes. And because Zach said that, and I have so much love and respect, I ordered it, and I ate the club sandwich, and I ate the sweet potato fries, and I think we went out and won the next game. He's like, dude, you are eating that sandwich.
He's superstitious, huh?
Yeah, it was just one. And honestly, I might have needed the fuel. I mean, a good club sandwich, you can't really beat that with some sweet potato fries. Like, it was good. But just my relationship with him throughout the years, whether it was on the field in Bible study, talking about faith, getting ready for practice, throwing, anytime we were doing QB drills and fundamentals, if he was not in on what was going on at that time, whether special teams or defense, he would be over there trying to catch for us and asking how he could do things better. And then even in games where maybe he's not getting targets, he'd be like, dude, what's going on? Like, why am I? It's going to come to you. Just be patient. Like, he always wanted to have the ball in his hand, and he made so many big plays at the right time to ultimately lead the Eagles to their first Super Bowl. And even when we coach our girls, I try to give them the Ertz effect when he runs routes. Like, him in and out of breaks is one of the best I've ever seen. But he does it in a weird way. Like, his hands, if you watch him, like, watch some receivers. And we saw some drops in the game the other day. Like, we'll get into the Philadelphia Eagles and drops around the league. A lot of guys need to take what Zach does fundamentally into their arsenal. Zach, out of the break, hands aren't low. The hands are always right here. And if you're watching on YouTube, or I don't know if we'll make a reel of this, but watch on YouTube, they're always up out of his break because he knows like if they're down and the ball's fired, he's going to miss it and pop it up, and it could be an interception or he's going to drop the ball. He wants the hands ready to go. He's one of the few guys I played with that have done that, but there's a reason why that guy doesn't drop many passes.
I've said this many times about Zach, whenever I've been asked about him, because I knew Zach when he played in college. I missed him at Stanford by a year or two. There's a lot of receivers, as weird as this sounds, that run routes not necessarily to always get the ball. Not every receiver wants the ball in every situation. They want it like, okay, down the sideline, 50-50 ball. But some guys run routes over the middle like, I'm going to run this route, but maybe don't throw it to me. Like, I don't want to take a hit right now. Every route Zach runs is to get the ball. And
every route.
You don't have 120 catches like he did that one year unless that's the case. But every route he runs is to get the football. And I'm telling you right now, receiver, tight end, not everyone can say that. Some guys are scared to get the ball in certain situations, even at the NFL level. Zach runs every route to get the ball.
And I will say this, he was like that his rookie year, and he just developed it and he got better and better. And as a quarterback, maybe it was backside on my read. And I'm starting, for listeners, I'm going to try to make this really simple. I'm reading the concept to the left. He's on the right. I'm starting on the left, 1, 2, 3, whatever, based on coverage. I knew whenever I flipped around, which is hard for a lot of quarterbacks to do, to get through progressions. It seems like these younger quarterbacks are having even more trouble going through progressions. It's like 1, 2, run. I knew Zach was going to have leverage and was going to win. He might, on paper, have ran a 10 to 12 yard, we called it a basic route, just an in route.
We got to change it, though.
He might be in or 12 to 10, I should say, down. You always want to get, we say friendly. It means down your stem where you have more leverage on your defender, and they can't undercut it. He might be at 5 yards because by the time I got back to him, the DB had done such a good job, but he kept coming down. I might throw a completion. It might be 4 or 5 yards when on paper it should have been 10 to 12.
Because he wants the ball.
Because he ran every route to win. When I look at, say, example, and we'll get into this, the Philadelphia Eagles, I see just routes that are drawn up on paper. I see no trying to gain leverage. I see no finishing the route down the stem, like in the sense of like if you're running a 10-yard basic, you're running 10 yards and you're going flat across. Zach would not have done that. It would have been up to 10, and he's going to shave that sucker down to 8. If it's 3rd and 10 and the basic on paper says 10 yards, he knows he's going to shave it down, so he's going to run all the way up to 12 or 13 just so he can set up the defender and shave it back down to 10, catch it knowing that he's right at the line of scrimmage and falling. He's not going to try to make a play. He's just going to fall down and get it. That's where
I think he might have picked some of that up from was when he played for Harbaugh in college. Harbaugh used to always tell us receivers, my senior year, Harbaugh was the head coach. He used to always tell us at Stanford, if a guy ran a route just to run it and check the box, I learned the word perfunctory from him. He'd be like, Evan, he's like, that's pretty perfunctory there. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? And like we barely even had phones at that time, but I'm like, give me a dictionary. And sure enough, perfunctory is just like doing something just to do it and check the box. That's a very general way to put it. And what his point was is that don't just run the route to then tell your coach, hey man, I ran a basic cross, I got to 10 and came across. Like run the route to make a play. And maybe that's where Zach learned it. But Zach will violate principles. So if it doesn't work, the coach will say, hey man, come on, you're not supposed to go 13, you're supposed to go 10. Zach will violate principles. Now you got to have the latitude to do this. Zach was a 2nd round pick that was highly productive, so he was allowed to do it.
Yeah.
But he will violate principles and rules on routes because he knows what works. This goes back to our discussion a couple weeks ago about the Eagles, right? And certain things you just got to deviate from as players when you know. And it's funny too when we talk about the Eagles because the Eagles right now lack a true volume receiver. So AJ and Devontae are great players, but they're number ones on the outside that are more downfield 50-50 balls. And a true volume receiver / tight end is a guy like Zach, a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown, a guy that's going to have that is capable of having over 100 catches because of the types of routes they'll run. You don't get 100 catches only lining up on the outside. Yeah. It doesn't happen, right? Puka Nakua's a volume type receiver. Makai Lemon at SC, who's going to be in the draft, volume type receiver. Volume receivers run routes a little bit differently. And right now the Eagles lack that, and that's where I give Jalen a little slack. It's like, look, Dallas Goedert's good, but he does not have a guy that is a true middle-of-the-field volume type pass catcher. You might say, oh, no, he's on the roster. Okay, fine. Well, they're not using him that way. Whoever you think it might be. I heard some people say, is it Jahan Dotson? Some people would chime in. Is that who it was on their roster, number 2?
Dotson.
People would chime in, oh, no, he's that guy. Well, okay, fine, but we're not seeing it. I'm just telling you, they don't have it, right? So All right, Zach, we love you, buddy.
Praying for you, bro.
Yeah, really, really, really sad to see that take place. And by the way, the ball was not good. I think it was Mariota that threw it because Jaden was out.
Dude, that's hard.
That's a hospital ball.
That's when you're a quarterback. And
you got to throw that ball low.
I always told our guys. I mean, as a quarterback, I always let them know I'm gonna do everything I can to protect you. Like if I feel like it's that, and I'm gonna put you in a position, I'm just not gonna. I'm gonna move on to my progression and check it down.
Yeah.
There are times where it might be like low or like maybe I throw. That's a throw. If I saw that, I would try to back hip him. Might be incomplete or he catches, spins, and but like as a quarterback, you miss some, unfortunately.
You missed that one.
But we're praying for you.
And I think
Zach.
Marcus feels bad for that one too.
Yeah, Marcus is a great dude, man. He's a great player, a great leader, and you know.
All right, real quick here. We all expected the Broncos to beat the Raiders. That was no surprise. It was an 8.5-point line. And for those of you that follow lines, you're like, okay, Broncos are up 10. This looks safe. Raiders don't look like they're going to be able to move the ball. And there's almost no time left, so the Raiders probably aren't going to kick a field goal. Maybe they do if there's like 30 seconds left. A very odd sequence towards the end of that game. It was a very questionable cover by the Raiders. The Raiders end up getting a couple penalties. The delay of game after one of the plays was the most bizarre call I've ever seen. One of the most bizarre calls. Some of the officiating this year has been so terrible. They get a delay of game call, and then with 0 seconds left on the game clock, Pete Carroll decides to kick a field goal and basically cover. That's the only explanation.
And in the NFL, it's not like our youth sports league where points and goals matter based on placement. That doesn't happen in the
Pete
NFL.
Could say like, "Oh, I'd rather lose by 7 than 10."
But no, in the NFL, that's not a thing.
You always see a Hail Mary at the end in that situation.
That I've never seen anything like that in my entire career.
So one cool thing that came from this game is Bo Nix had a great game. It's 3 straight games of him being like a high-level passer, which they need. As they get down the stretch, they really need him to start playing at an even higher level than he has. But the cover by the Raiders, gambling is much more normal in sports these days. It's everywhere, right? But when a game is in Vegas and something like this happens, I am 100% on board with all the speculation of what the hell was going on that final drive, right? If you've got, like, I know Dave Portnoy from Barstool had a hilarious video where he's like, Pete should be in jail. Throw everybody in jail.
How much did he bet on that game, man?
I don't know, but the point still stands. Like it is bizarre. There are many things that go on in sports with regard to covers that are very bizarre, and then you see specials on Netflix and whatnot where you're like, yeah, there's some stuff going on behind the scenes. Maybe don't impact who wins the game, but they impact who hits a spread. And what happened in the Raiders game was very weird.
It's going to be under
Does
investigation.
it warrant an investigation? I don't know. Will we ever hear it? I don't know.
They're for sure investigating that.
But there are so many times that, like, you know, the week before, Dallas gets that offensive pass interference call going into score. That's the worst call I've seen in the NFL in over a dozen years. Easily. Worst call I've ever seen.
That was bad.
I mean, that is completely inexcusable. And it impacted the line. So yes, so fans, we played in the NFL. And I regularly wonder when I watch things, what the hell is going on? How does that call happen with respect to the line on that game? You can't tell me there's not correlation between the two. I wonder about it all the time, and I'll just leave it there. All the time when I'm watching games, I'm like, something's up.
Yeah.
Something's up, right? And you might say, well, as players, did you ever feel that? No, I think as players, it goes over your head. It isn't I think the players are completely like, wait, what? There are higher forces, like powers that be that are involved in dictating some of the outcomes of these games. I have no question in my mind.
Well, and this game was played in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that makes it even crazier.
And then lastly, Bears-Packers was great. You got to take the Bears seriously. We've talked a lot about Jordan Love on this show. He's got 7 touchdowns the last 2 weeks. Jordan Love is to be a good quarterback, and I'm not even a quarterback, Nick is, but I think he would agree with this. You've got to be able to throw with touch, throw with anticipation, and throw with accuracy. Okay, I did not just say you have to be able to drive it down the field with amazing arm strength. I think there's a bare minimum of arm strength that is necessary, but it's not. But once you're above it, it doesn't matter if you're way above it or a little bit above it.
It's around 50 yards.
You can be great.
It's not right? As far as you think, like 50 yards.
Jordan Love, I don't see him all that often like driving the ball down the field into tight windows with an insane accuracy or insane velocity, because I don't think that's that important. What I regularly see from Jordan Love is throwing with touch and anticipation,
which is more catchable.
All his balls are catchable. And the way the couple balls that he threw to Christian Watson, who has come on big time, one of the best receivers in football right now, which is huge for the Packers because, you know, he's had injury last year and they lost Tucker Kraft. But really my takeaway in this game, while Caleb almost had a moment late to come back, but the Packers defense is really good, and I still have a lot of respect for what the Bears are doing. I said Jordan Love arrived like 6 weeks ago, and I still feel that way. He's got a chance to do something special. This is a contender, the Packers. They are a contender. And Jordan Love and his ability to throw with touch and anticipation is off the charts. It's underrated, and he's got a chance in this postseason to cement himself as one of the top quarterbacks in football. We'll see if it happens. All right. I want to talk Eagles-Chargers. Monday Night Football recap and kind of general state of the union with the Eagles to where it stands right now. The Eagles are now on a 3-game losing streak. A night where the Eagles had 5 turnovers. So basically it was 4 interceptions, and they got 2 turnovers on one play with the fumble. So technically it was 5. So it's like it was 4, but we'll say 5. And one of the interceptions came on a tip ball. It was, if you take away the tush push touchdown of 52 yards,
the fake tush push
to Saquon Barkley, it would have easily been the worst offensive game in Sirianni's tenure by many metrics.
Yeah.
Okay, so like what's odd too is going into this game, we had heard all these reports that Sirianni's going to be more involved, and then they go out and have like the worst game offensively that we've seen, which is a bit troubling. Hurts is on pace for a career low in carries this year. He had just 4 attempts for 8 yards. And Saquon Barkley averaging about 3.5 yards a carry, not counting tush-push runs. At one point, the Eagles had a first down on the Chargers 2 towards the end of the half. 2, like first and goal from the 2, and ended up settling for 3 points. So there's no question this team is different. They cannot run the ball. Lane Johnson's out. Landon Dickerson was in and out of the game. It's not the same when you can't set the tone like that. And Nick, I'm going to cut you loose on this. And I give credit to San Diego's defense as well. Not San Diego, the Chargers, Los Angeles. Because their defense played, as you're going to get into, a lot of looks really well. But there's a lot of ways to go here. And I'm going to warn everyone now that Nick has watched every single play from the coaching from the coaching view, the all-22 view, and has taken a very deep dive on the Eagles offense. And Nick, one thought I had in thinking about where they're at is the Eagles need to be very careful. I don't want to overreact to Jalen Hurts. Some people are saying he should be benched. It's like, okay, hold on. But generally speaking, where I think the Eagles need to be careful. So I would compare Russell Wilson and Jalen Hurts from the standpoint of both are very structure-centric quarterbacks, structure-reliant quarterbacks. And when they're in the right structure, they excel.
Yeah.
Fantastic athletes, throw great deep balls. When the run game is good, like these guys look really good.
Yeah.
Now, Russ is older at a different point in his career, but if you go back to the late, like 2017 to 2019, there were times where they lost Marshawn Lynch. They lost the running game, and they forced Russell Wilson to throw the ball 35 to 40 times a game where it was like, let Russ cook.
Yeah.
And it fell off a cliff. And everyone started like, what's wrong with Russell Wilson? Well, Russell Wilson is a very structure-centric quarterback, structure-reliant quarterback. And I see a lot of those same features with Jalen Hurts' game. And go back to the reel we had earlier, like, is he a top-tier passer? This is what we were saying.
Yeah.
And so the Eagles need to be very careful about the pieces around him and scheme-wise to not let this thing start to slide downhill quickly with Jalen Hurts, because I think there are a lot of similarities between what Jalen Hurts does well and what Russell Wilson did well in his prime. And how if you take those guys out of the right structure and force them to be drop-back passers, they become completely different players. And I think we're watching that in real time. Now, Jalen's younger. He's not where Russell is right now, but he is where Russell was in like 15 to 19. So you got to be very careful about letting it get there. I don't know if you had any reaction to it on that, but
no, I agree with you. I think every quarterback, great coaches build their schematics around the quarterback. I think that's what great coaches do. And that'll, we were going to originally do a mini pod yesterday. And I remember I called you and I just watched the All-22. When it was on TV live, I literally just told Tori, I'm like, hey, I'm really going to take a deep dive and really lock into every single thing they're doing. You can't really see everything from the TV copy at all. Like, you can't see the secondary shell of the defensive coverage that helps with the reads. Where should he be going? I can't see all the routes. Like, what were they trying to do? It happened so quick. So I was really waiting for the All-22. And then I watched it, and we were going to do the mini pod, and I called you. I was on a walk with Tori, and I was like, hey, Ev, like, I need another day. I'm in a situation where the old saying of see a lot, see a little, and then see a little, see a lot sort of thing. And I just couldn't wrap my head around it. I had too many thoughts. I couldn't analyze it in a way. And I know a lot of people are talking about this, and I hear simple things all the time, like, oh, if they're blitzing, throw it over the middle. Okay, like, that's not a lot of detail, but I'm sure a lot of fans are like, yeah, that's great. Or like, Jalen Hurts isn't doing a good job. Oh, yeah, I agree with that. Statistics show that. I'm not going to like that's just surface level and there's nothing to back it up. I like evidence. And then I always like steps forward on things that are applicable that can grow a team and allow them to be better. So I needed time to think. Even this morning, I'm sitting there, I'm going through all my notes. And if you're on YouTube, like I got my little booklet, I got plays from each play. I have what it was. So a summary of like all the plays. I don't really see an offense. I see just plays. I don't see like a cohesive scheme. I see that I think they hear a lot of what everyone's talking about. Hey, like under center, you're doing good. We need more play action. Hey, we need to run the ball at Saquon. I see like them trying to do that. Motions every play. A lot of times I'm like, why did they do that? It's just a cross motion and the defense isn't even talking. They just bump out. Like they're trying to do the things that people are saying, but they're not with the purpose. So therefore I was like, I'm not ready to talk about it. So this morning I'm like, this is one page and I'm going to give it one word to start. And I didn't tell you the word before we started. Everyone here wanted to know what word it would be. And this is the word that I circled. Their biggest issue is fundamentals. And you're like, wait, what? Like I know we coach youth sports. The most important thing is fundamentals. Kobe Bryant, the late Kobe Bryant, we love Kobe. Playing in Philly, like one of my favorite clips is like when we won the Super Bowl and like seeing Kobe cheer, like for me, like is one of my favorite players watching, like even now, like gets me emotional. Like that was really special. This guy's like one of the greatest of all time. And he's excited about what Philadelphia did in winning a Super Bowl. And that's how much it means to play in Philadelphia. So, and that guy was one of the greatest at fundamentals. He worked on fundamentals the boring fundamentals, not the like fade away. He worked on fundamentals. And if I summarize this, I see a lack of fundamentals this year. I see this with the Chiefs as well. But we're on the Eagles. So I said fundamentals. Okay, what does that mean? Well, when I'm watching Jalen play, if I was his quarterback coach is once again a new coach. This isn't
first-year guy.
First-year guy.
Scott Leffler, right?
Yeah, Scott Leffler. He was a head coach in college, and he primarily had been a quarterback coach in college and maybe offensive coordinator. So he's done it and been there. It's hard coming in with an offense you probably don't know. Maybe he knew it a little bit, but now you're coaching Jalen Hurts, the Super Bowl MVP, and I would guess, and if we have media people watching this, like I'm curious the fundamentals at practice, like the footwork drills, the drop backs, the timing, the consistent when defenses, they don't get to be out there when defense is going like media, but like in between periods, are you on the side constantly working footwork drills and progressions and having your guys come over and catch for you? They might be doing that. I don't know. My guess is they're not doing it like they did last year with their previous quarterback coach, who I believe really was a big fundamental guy. He even called me.
Which is who?
Was it Nussmeier?
Yeah, Nussmeier.
Nussmeier?
Yeah.
He called me before they were prepping for the Super Bowl, and we had a decent length conversation. He wanted to know everything I did leading up to the Super Bowl preparation wise. He asked so many questions. He wanted to know every single thing I did because he wanted that detail. He wanted that in his brain so he could put Jalen in the best situation possible to play in the Super Bowl. And Jalen had a great Super Bowl. I don't see, and what I mean about fundamentals, I'm watching the game, timing and rhythm off. Mm-hmm. The big plays are happening on scrambles or late adjustments where it's a slant route and A.J. Brown goes like a slant go, drops the ball. Jalen finds him, throws a good ball. There was drops. So fundamentals, we're dropping too many passes with our big receivers. Like they got to make those plays. They know that too. So my question is, like, in between periods, are y'all getting the extra work in? Are you with Jalen, or are you on the sideline? I don't know this. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying from my perspective, and footwork-wise, I don't see any 5-hitch throw. There was a hammerhead concept, was the one where like a through, a sit, and a 15-yard dagger where AJ sort of struck it back out. On TV, I couldn't tell what was going on. So when I'm watching the All-22, if the read is AJ's number 1 down to this, the number 3 route going through, is clearing it out, taking the safety out for the dagger. AJ sort of sits in the hole. I don't mind that. If Jalen his timing on that is 5-hitch throw. Mm-hmm. Every play, people who don't
5 steps, take a hitch, meaning that extra
like
step,
one hit, ball's out.
Yeah.
So the beautiful thing about NFL and football and
by the way, the 5 hitch and throw times up with the depth of the receiver's route. That's what my Nick means by rhythm. Is when he hits that back step, takes a hitch and throw. That's when the receiver's coming out of the route.
So
right?
And it's playing in the NFL and running plays is like a beautiful dance. And I'm not equipped to dance. Ask my wife. I'm not a dancer. But footwork-wise, I got really good with my footwork throughout my career. And the year we won the Super Bowl, I circled, my quarterback coach was John D. Phillip. And I will tell you this, and I respect this, but when you're a player, it's tough because you got so much going on and you're constantly working. Every practice for Coach Phillip was game day. And when you're a quarterback and you're like constantly have all these, there's days where like, oh my goodness, we would get out there early. We would do our warm-up, our quarterback warm-up, all our fundamentals. We would then get with our all the centers, and he would give us a play. And I don't see this either with him. I don't see 2 plays called like, hey, 95 kill over, 98 kill over. Hey, we're going to go 94 wall kill, past 94 this. Where like, and then, so Flip would give us a play, and it would go down the row. Starting quarterback would usually run the whole thing. You'd say the play. You'd give a cadence. Hey, we're going on Tyson. That's hard 3. Set up 180. I said, hot. Okay, good. Hey, we're good. We would, and this is like before practice. We're with our students. We're running through plays. We are going and doing proper footwork fundamentals with our run game to nauseum. This is before practice. Then we start. Then we go do running back handoffs. I'm telling you, we would, if we had zone reads, if we had RPOs, he had reads, he had people dialed in. He would be our read guy, and he would be sweating so much. But every single, he'd run back, he'd do it. And he would give us he would try to give us the hardest read every single time. And all of practice, it was a mental, fundamental overload from Flip. When the defense was going, so when defense goes in practice, they have a scout team offense. A lot of the starting offense then is on the side. And a lot of times they just watch. Flip would then take us over, and we would do more footwork drills, or we would go through the next period of plays. Like, hey, here's what we have coming up. Let's work these. Let's work our footwork. Hey, we have trips right, 3-jet, hammerhead, X comeback. Let's work our footwork. Hey, Ed, one of our equipment guys, awesome guys. They know they're wonderful. They work their butts off. They don't get enough appreciation. Ed, can you go be the, hey, we're going to be 16 to 18 yards right there. Boom. Hey, right here. Hey, we had Alshon or Zach. Zach Ertz would be over there. Hey, Zach, can you be our little 8-yard sit route? Hey, all right, I'm going to be the defender. Read me. Snap, 5, hitch. Oh, he dropped into the dagger zone. Hitch. Oh, reset. Down. Ad nauseum. We would just go over and over again, all practice. Fundamentals. That year in 2017, my footwork, my fundamentals took the greatest leap in my entire career because of Flip approaching practice every day. And it meant, what happens when you do that is when you get to a game and you constantly work this, you drop back to the level of your training in games. That's why I'm saying this. I would love to see an emphasis. Everyone else is going to talk scheme, play calls, quarterback play. Those are like easy little things. Like, let's detail this up. My emphasis for the rest of the season, my challenge is every single position offensively, let's dial in. Let's go back to 101 football. This is your first entry class in college. Let's go back to fundamentals. Fundamentals are boring. But what they do is they lead to great success on game day because now you're not thinking about your footwork. You're not thinking about your drop. It is, if a guy, collapses the pocket, we were trained to then slide right, set, throw. Hey, rolling out, bootleg. You can miss throws. Hey, getting that left shoulder to the target, falling through down towards your target. All those little things we worked on so many times. So when we got into the game, I knew the rhythm of the play, 5 hits, throw, boom, because we worked it so much. We talked about it so much. And then the film at practice, we would go through the reads, and you're taught coverage, reads. When are you reading here? When are you reading there? Fundamentals is a big thing. I also see, like, with the fundamentals, and this is why it's important during practice, let's work our reads. Let's work our progression. There was a 3rd and 4. They had a play called Bass. I don't know what they call it now, but Bass is basically Goddard ran over the ball, 5-yard hook. The slot receiver runs like a 10 to 8-yard hook. Number 1 was a running back that motioned out.
Can you just let everyone understand too? Like, you obviously played in different offenses over the course of your career, but you know this offense.
I know this offense.
You're familiar with it because you're familiar with Frank Reich.
This is Frank Reich's offense.
Okay, so people need to understand that.
Yes,
though.
I know this offense.
Okay, you know this offense.
Yes.
So these plays you're seeing, while they might not call them the same thing, you know the principles of this offense.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to establish that for our listeners. You know what I mean?
So the read on this play, first off, if it's man coverage, we used to go alert, alert, alert. That changed our number 2 because man coverage running like a little hook route. And what that means is like basically like a 10-yard route, stop, come back towards the line, towards the ball. You're not breaking out. You're coming back towards me. When it was man coverage, we would go alert, alert. I would change that now to a slot fade to clear him out. And then, but the read is this. This is not what it was. 3 inside out to the outside. If we go through the progression, and that's a quick read. Like even if they give you pressure, like the line gets beat a little bit, you still have enough time. I watch Jalen's eyes, and they sort of like go a little bit, and then he scrambles. If he goes through his progression, the corner's about 10 to 12 yards off. When the ball snapped, what happens when your eyes go inside, he sort of fades a little bit more. He's about 12, 14. Your progression takes you out to the running back who runs about a 3-yard, 4-yard route. He's at the first down marker. You just rip it out there. It's a first down. They did not get the first down on this because we didn't go through the progression. And those are things that are easy plays, first day install. So I want to see those little easy gimme plays. Like, let's get our progressions right.
Wait, take me through the progression on the final play of the game that led to the interception.
Okay, so this will be a progression. Then I have more thoughts. So during the game, earlier in the game, they had run a similar play. It looked like a boot. It was a bootleg, and he threw it to Goddard in the flat. And it was a switch release corner by the receiver. So my thought was, oh, they must have ran the same play. And then you had said, man, like man, Khalil Mack's in his face. That was a tough throw. That was a tough play, man. And then I'm watching the all 22, and I'm sitting there, and I'm also jotting down how many times do they run RPOs, because they're already throwing slants. Like we have Saquon Barkley, we have Jalen Hurts, we have a big receiver. Like I had Alshon Jeffrey and I had Zach Ertz. We did RPOs left and right with them. I think they ran 2 or 3. The last play of the game that was an interception was not a pass play. It was a run-pass option. Backside's run, blocking run. Slot receiver, blitzes, he's going to go hot. The read is Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack is unblocked. It is a zone read.
He's unblocked
RPO.
on purpose.
He's unblocked on purpose.
Yeah.
So if you don't know, listen.
He's on the quarterback.
I ran Chip Kelly's. We did this with Doug. I ran a lot of zone read. I had to learn how to do it. And I'm not a zone read guy, but I still was able to do it at a high level. The thought process on that is, and once again, Jeff Stoutland was my O-line coach. I'm turning. I'm reading the ball. When you go out, if you're watching YouTube, this is a great one for YouTube because you're going to get to see me do a little bit more. If he's the running back's on my right, the ball is then to the right, so I can really sell it and read Khalil Mack. Khalil just sort of stayed there, and if he pats his feet at all and just stays there, you give it. Your thought process is, can I get 4 yards? Is Saquon's going to, you had mentioned, man, I think Khalil Mack's going to collapse. Saquon's still getting 4 yards. That's your mindset. Mm-hmm. But I also get the perspective of it's been a tough game for Jalen Stoners. He's trying to make a play. I get that. I've done that. So, listen, there is a perspective thing. I feel for him. So, this is all learning. This is growing. This is if I'm in the QB room, we're going back to fundamentals. If you fundamentally read this play, the ball is not even thrown. It's given to Saquon. If he breaks that tackle, it might be a touchdown, or it's a 4-yard gain, 6-yard gain. But what happens is this. Okay, we're also taught this. If I'm a quarterback coach, this is what I'm teaching. Okay, there's going to be times you make a play bad. It happens. You're going to mess up. This is an imperfect sport. We're imperfect human beings. That's okay. Don't make a bad play worse. If I call a bad play, don't make it worse. Don't force it. If you make a decision, like a zone read, you pull it. Oh, no, that was the wrong read. It's now a bad play. Your next read is Goddard. Goddard is your throw. Immediately, it is a flat. It's designed for the flat. The switch release corner, maybe you do it 1 out of 20 times. Maybe you do get it.
The corner to Dotson is
the one where he threw it. He forced that one. That's his coaching point. He's going to learn from it. He's going to bounce back from it. He's going to be fine. Perspective's everything. I'm a glass half full guy. So this is all learning. So right there, he pulls it. Oh, Khalil Mack's there. I read the play wrong. Maybe Goddard's wide open. You can get it around Khalil, make it a little bit better and get like 3 or 4, and that's fine. Goddard's covered. The corner's coming down. He's playing in between. If this is a true bootleg, it would be a 1-2-1 read where Goddard's not there. I'm going to the corner. Oh, corner fell off. I come back to Goddard because the defender that was on Goddard dropped back into the switch release corner.
The corner played it really well.
And we call that a 1-2-1 read. Goddard is my number 1. The corner is my number 2. I'm coming back to number 1. But what should have happened in this in a perfect world? It's not a perfect world. Boom, pull it. Khalil's right there. Made a bad play. I am selling this over Goddard's head out of bounds. I am living to play the next play. I'm not forcing it right now. We are as bad as we've played offensively with turning over the ball. And we did some good things. There were some better play action concepts we'll get to. We can still win this game.
You mentioned, too, that throw to the corner is typically not one of the options because in an RPO, usually it results in an offensive lineman down the field.
And they're taught on
that's a
RPO,
penalty,
and they're
right?
taught on RPOs not to go downfield.
Right.
Like you risk it because they're trying to run. They're taught to like stay at the line of scrimmage and not go down because it is a run pass option. But even then, it's a great RPO. I think it's an awesome RPO. So first off, I love the play call. I do. I think it was Kevin, great play call. It should have been handed to Saquon. Jalen made a bad read. It happens. The biggest thing, and this was a big film week for them, they're going to learn from it. They got to grow from it. So that's one. That's the read.
Nick, by the way, Nick Sirianni, this got a lot of burn, this clip of him on the sideline. They only had the camera on him, and you could tell he was watching the interception take place in real time. And the grin on his face, right when he saw them pick it off, and the grin and turning and walking away, again, I haven't talked to him, screamed to me, that's not the throw. And I think he knew right away, even though it was picked, he knew that's not the read, that's not the throw. They picked it off. This is just the way it's been going. It was almost like this grin of like, are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the thing is, they're still in the driver's seat. And so those are things I see from the game. Here's where, fundamentals is a big thing. When I see Jalen repping these plays, I don't see a level of comfort. And that also comes with, I look at fundamentals, I look at footwork. I don't see him on time. My favorite throw was the throw to Devontae Smith. I think it was 3rd and 6, the basic.
Great throw.
That was
longer than that. I think it was longer than 3rd and 6, wasn't it?
So, yeah.
Anyways, the dig.
But regardless,
that
that was the one time on a drop back I felt like he threw on time and rhythm before the receiver was open. And I was like, I loved it. I circled that throw. This is how it should be. My guess is he's comfortable with that play. So if I'm this offense, I went through the entire offense. I watched the game. And listen, I'm not talking to the guys there. I just see a bunch of plays. I see them looking at game film from other teams like, hey, this works for us and this works for them. Yeah, they did a couple. I know Dan Orlovsky said, hey, I like some of the play action. I love play action. I think play action with a purpose that looks like your run game is a part of your game. I would love to see them fundamentally. They need to do a screen period. Screens. Why do you do
in practice?
In practice, because on receiver screens, I see receivers aren't blocking well. I remember in 17, our receiver coach, we would do Mike Groh, great receiver coach. He's in New York right now, but great receiver coach. We would constantly do fundamentals and blocking with screens. We would throw the RPO, we'd throw the screen. He would teach them leverage. They would block it up. We were very, very good with that. Once again, fundamentals. Multiple times in the game, I see over pursuit or an unsure receiver of who I am blocking. You're blocking most dangerous. So go to who you're blocking, get hands on him. And then Devontae Smith is getting blown up, and it's no yard. You block that guy, you're giving Devontae Smith to make one guy miss and maybe going out and scoring a touchdown. So I don't see that's fundamentals with receivers. Let's work on our blocking on the perimeter. It was not great, but also as a play caller, like we got to have some running back screens. They tried a chip screen, which is basically a running back little fake block boom. They got blitzed into. Once again, I'll say Jesse Minter, awesome play calling. Like there were so many times their defense gloved all the concepts of the Eagles perfectly. It was a perfect play call. Multiple times in the game, I circled and said Jalen Hurts has nowhere to go with the ball. They have this gloved. I don't know if it's a predictable play call or what. He did an amazing job calling the entire game, which led to turnovers. So if I'm going to the playbook, I'm sitting down throughout the years that Jalen Hurts has been a quarterback in Philadelphia, and I'm pulling a Frank Reich thing out of my butt right now in the sense of I'm going to go watch the film and what plays has Jalen Hurts had the most reps on, and what do I know if I'm in the backyard or we're just playing in offseason and I just run this offense and these are the plays that Jalen has the most time on task. I know when I call this play, he knows where all the bones are buried and he can run this play at a highest level, and we can shift the formation, we can motion to it, we can hide it. I want Jalen Hurts running plays that he has a lot of time on task on and he knows where all the bones are buried. I don't want him thinking. I want him playing. So they need to go back. He's had a lot of success.
We're acknowledging, though, that is going to be difficult given that they're just not very good at running the football this year. Like straight up, man for man on the offensive line, given they're dinged up. Lane Johnson's out. Landon Dickerson's not 100%. let's at least acknowledge
Yeah.
that is going to be a little bit more challenging given that they're just not a dominant run team this year.
Yeah.
Okay. It's going to be more challenging, but it's possible.
And
you know
then
what I mean?
I agree with you. I do think those things I said will help. But another thing that I said, so I was also a backup quarterback a lot of my career, which means I ran other teams' offenses in practice against our defense. And there was times like when I would run an offense, I'm like, man, this is awesome. This is so much fun to run. I love the intermediate scheme. I love the quick game schemes, the play action scheme. This is a lot of fun to run against our and we would gash our defense in practice because I love the plays. They make a lot of sense. They have a lot of options. And we could just we gave our defenses the best look. Then there was other weeks I would run our offenses plays. I'm like, man, this offense
sucks.
This is not, I would not have fun running it. It would not be fun running the plays. A lot of it, I'm like, what are they trying to do with the downfield stuff? It's like one or two options. And unfortunately, when I like look at this and I'm watching the film, and if I was the scout team quarterback that was repping the Eagles offense right now, you honestly, if you're interviewing, go talk to someone who's repped their offense. I would say those are the weeks of practice where I am not enjoying being scout team quarterback running these plays. I'm not enjoying it. I don't see I don't ever see pure progression plays. They are all half field reads. It's like you're either reading this side or this side. Some of my favorite plays where we would mix in there and you have some quick completions, but like, it's like hey, right now I'm going right to left. It's a flat, it's a corner, it's a shallow, it's a basic. And it's a 5-yard in. We called it a lunch route, a pirate route, whatever it was. And it was great. And the thought process is I'm just hitting the flat. I'm hitting the flat. Oh, corner comes down. I'm hitting the corner, Oh, they push over right here. Shallow's coming and it can sit. Boom. Zone coverage. I know where I don't see any pure progression. All I see is half-field reads.
Just to be clear, you spent 10 minutes talking about fundamentals and execution from Jalen.
Yes.
Based on what he is given.
Yes.
And how some of this is still doable.
Yes.
And now you're shifting to But this, let's be clear, scheme is not where it needs to be, right?
Oh yeah, scheme is not where. And this is my point. You got to start with fundamentals. Fundamentals. They're going to get you where they're going to. If you are fundamentally sound against the Chargers, and you're the ball is delivered where it should be, it's on time, it's accurate. Receivers are catching those catches. You're winning that game. You are winning that. Even the interception, the one that was up high. I mean, you could speak on this being a tight end receiver. High across the middle is a bad thing.
Should have caught it, but
can he catch it? Yes, absolutely. But that's a back shoulder catch down throw. It's not high. So once again, I go back to fundamentals, fundamentally sound. Scheme is not where it's going to be, but scheme is a lot harder to fix during the season.
I see.
The only way to fix it, in my opinion, is you study the defense, you study what your opponent is. Hey, like if you're playing against a Dan Quinn, it's the 3 zombie look, it's the cover 3 look, they're going to play some man, whatever it is, whatever. Find in your offense what Jalen has repped a ton with that he feels very, very, very comfortable with, and let's find a way to get those plays in the game plan over and over again. And then in third down and red zone, you're going to have some wrinkles, you're going to do stuff. Another point is this, and I try, once again, I had so many thoughts of like things they could do. I never see them get up to the ball and have 2 plays on. Yeah. I know for us, we would have 94 kill, 2 jet all go. That's a simple term. It's a run. If it's 2 high safeties, that means you have a really nice box where your blockers are. Trying to simplify this for all our listeners. You're going to run the ball. I would use a double cadence. We'd say, hey, yellow, said hot, whitey, said hot. Hey, we're good. Hey, green 80, said hot. Boom, ball snap. Yeah. There's 2 safeties. Premier look to run the ball. Hey, okay, we have 94 kill, 2 jet all go. Hey, run, kill, pass. Yellow, said hot, whitey, said hot. Safety rolls down inside the box. He's now 1 safety deep. They have an extra guy in the box, not the premier look. Hey, easy. Hey, kill. Sunday said hut. I'm snapping the ball. I have game, now, right? It's 2 plays in 1. You're using a double cadence to see what's going on or get them to jump off sides. And then you're getting a premier look for a play call. You're helping your play caller out.
I love the chess game, and I think every good team does it. But I would argue, again, I'm playing devil's advocate here. I would argue they would even struggle to run it against a light box right now.
Yeah.
Which is really tough, right? I'm giving Kevin Batua a little bit of slack because they simply, and it's surprising because of how good they are with Jeff Stoutland and generally with their personnel that's banged up right now, they don't even run it well against a light box. And that's the biggest difference with this team. And I know you're trying to say, yeah, okay, that is true, but I'm trying to give you some examples of lack of execution when the opportunities are there. And then the scheme still isn't right. Totally fair. But Kevin Batua's got his work cut out for him because even against a light box with an offensive offensive line coach and run game coordinator that's been there through the best of years, they can't even run it against a light box.
Yeah.
Which is tough.
Yeah.
If I told you go into an offense and be the signal caller for a team that even against a 5-man box is struggling to run the ball, you'd be like, oh, this is going to be rough.
Yeah.
Right? And you're saying, okay, you guys really got to go back to that whiteboard and find things he does well and find a way to get around this. It's doable with your talent.
Yeah, and
right?
I think that goes back to if you're struggling to run the ball, let's find stuff that Jalen has. It's not that he necessarily, it's tough. Go back and look at all his cut-ups. What has he repped at a high level to where he can play and react? Because I don't see, based on his footwork, a lot of reaction. The one reactionary throw was the one that Devontae Smith in overtime that got a first down.
Yeah.
That was my favorite throw. There's several other times in the game, if he's on time and rhythm, it's good plays. But also in defense of him, the Jesse Minter, a lot of times had a great coverage and gloved the routes. But then I also make another point. A lot of the routes I see are routes on paper. They look like the playbook, and that's not you're not going to have great success. It's way too easy for the defense. And we talked about Zach Ertz. I don't see Zach Ertz routes out there. Mm-hmm. I don't see that. I don't see guys. I see guys running plays, running routes. If they know they're not getting it, they're just running. They're not running to win the routes. They're not changing the leverage. They're not setting up routes. A lot of them are the perimeter stop routes or like a broken play, throw it deep, or just launch a post down there. I don't see a lot of routes ran at the intermediate level to win based on coming back down your stem, getting friendly, giving Jalen, or even like throttling down to give Jalen a throw. There was times too where maybe if he got through his progression, there was one time where A.J. Brown ran a shallow route, throttled down. I love this by A.J. Brown. I think Jalen then scrambled. Mm-hmm. If Jalen goes through his progression, he's just dotting A.J. And earlier weeks ago, if he would have done his progression, he would have gotten it down to A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown would have had a walk-in touchdown for 20 yards. There's no one there. You got to trust your progressions. One of Jalen Hurts' greatest skill sets is he can scramble, but he has to fundamentally trust the rhythm and timing of the plays and get the ball out on time. And if he does that, it takes the offense to the next level. Because in the NFL, most of the time you are not throwing the ball when guys are open. Like the play to Devontae Smith. It's
too late if they're open.
Was not open.
Yeah.
You have to have such a great feel and timing and trust your footwork by reps in practice, tons of fundamentals, to then just let that rip with your subconscious thought. If you start doing that, it's going to help the O-line out, quick game, all that. And it's going to help you and you're going to succeed. But so I want some, work on the routes. Let's win every route to win. Let's have some Zach Ertz technique. Let's watch some Zach Ertz. Even Alshon Jeffrey. That year, all our guys, even Goddard, learned. Goddard was the following year, but he learned a lot from Zach. Brent Selleck was great at it too because Brent was a little bit slower at the time. Brent was so good at finding leverage and even whipping out of a basic and stuff like that. I knew guys were going to win across the board because they were always running routes to win. And some of that was me going to my receivers and my tight ends and saying, guys, I am throwing the ball. I can't guarantee where this ball is going. I'm reading the defense. The defense dictates where the ball goes. You're wrong as an offensive player if you say, hey, I know where the ball is going. Boom. No, the defense can give you a different coverage that changes your read. As a quarterback, you have to be able to see the coverage. You have to know man zone, where are the safeties, where's the protection. And when the ball is snapped, you have to decipher everything once again and know where the ball is going. The defense dictates where the ball is going. Great quarterbacks know that based on reading the coverage. So all that goes back to everything I said is fundamentals. And then if I take it to another level.
Quick note on A.J. Brown.
Yes.
Before you transition. It's for the crowd of hey, it's just as simple as got to throw A.J. Brown the ball more. The first 9 games, A.J. Brown had about 7 targets a game. Last 3, over 11. The first 9 games, A.J. Brown was about 50 yards a game receiving. Last 3, over 114.
Yeah.
Receiving touchdowns, 3 through the first 9, 3 through the last 3.
Yep.
So they are making an effort to get him the ball more. But what's happened? They've lost 3 straight games.
Yeah.
So this problem is much bigger than feeding a specific receiver is our point.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's not that. It's everyone needs to run routes to win. Don't just run a concept knowing, hey, cover 3, my route's dead. There's times where, and I remember early in my career when we had double post, deep cross, which they ran twice the other day. One was a good call. I think he hit A.J. Brown. Another one was, I think he might have scrambled or something. But I remember early in my career, they're like, hey, your read is the deep cross to the back. Well, on my film study, I saw the safety low, and I launched it right over his head multiple times. It was a Raiders game, 7-touchdown game. I just threw post routes over the safety. And it proved to my coaches, well, I guess, and I always went off depth, width, and hips of the safety. If he's facing me, he's not fast enough to turn around. If he's dropping, he's putting himself in position. But if I snap the ball and he stays flat-footed, I'm throwing it right over his head, and I'm keeping my shoulders level, and I'm launching. And I know Jalen loves to throw the deep ball. But what I'm saying, my point of saying that is the receivers have to realize on any given play, 60 minutes, once the game starts, run every route to win within the offensive concepts. Don't run a route that's going to mess up another route, but like run every round to win. And that's based on work on practice, worked on fundamentals, work in the coaching room. Last point, it's not like a crazy point. I doubt they do it, but I was like thinking through like an advanced offense. Like there's a standard operating procedure in all-out blitzes and blitzes, right? So we were dialed in, and we always said SOP, standard operating procedure. Open field, do we have a built-in? All right, if I have a built-in, let's take it. Hey, is there a good receiver screen? Is it a slot receiver screen or is it outside receiver screen? All right, that's my next option. Hey, and it's got to happen quick. You can't let the defense check. So it's like easy. Hey, Raptor, give this a Sunday set. Boom. Defense can't check. They're in between. Next one is, hey, is there a quick game? Okay, let's get a quick game. And then the last one is, hey, do I want to block this up, bring the tight end in, have the running back and go 74 protection, 7-man protection, and let's give a concept where I have enough guys and I'm going off the guy that has the longest way to run, and I can get a 3-hitch throw out, maybe throw out route, an outbreaker. Outbreaker versus all-out blitz is great. And then once I got to the red zone, those concepts changed. Hey, we would run like a Potter, and we scored a touchdown on this against the New York Giants in 17 where it was a cover 0. We went 74-75. And we ran a switch release route where it's like a one-step slant and then a wide release, get in the way, come back a little post route. Trey Burton's wide open in the end zone. They got confused. They dropped it. But we had protection to block. So those are things on next level that you can increase.
I think what you're getting at, too, is you're saying from a coaching standpoint, before the ball snapped, you're putting defenses in a position where they literally cannot be right.
Exactly.
Right.
But that's next level stuff.
Next level stuff. Okay, so let's set this coaching staff aside for a second.
Yep.
Oh, no, let's bring them in. Do you think this staff thinks that Jalen can handle that if you're not seeing it?
I mean, they would be, and that's where people.
I'm not trying to ask you
No.
to crap on Jalen. I just want to know, like, do you think Jalen can handle all these mechanics pre-snap to get to a point where the defense cannot be right? Yeah. Because in the NFL, everyone's so talented. People forget, like, hey, it doesn't matter the play you call, line up and run it. No, it doesn't work that way. I've been in offenses like that too. It was awful.
Yeah.
Right? In Cleveland, we had a couple where it's like, guys, these guys are good. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Really good coaching puts you in a position where the defense cannot be right based on multiple play calls. If they're not doing it, it makes me wonder, are the coaches incompetent, or do they not think Jalen can handle that, given that they're not dominant on the ground running the ball?
Well, I would say this. It's twofold. I'm sure listeners are like, well, Nick, this is what you did when you played. This is different. I would agree with you 100%. Yeah. These are just my personal assessments. If I was there, things I would work on in the offseason. There are the fundamentals we can work on right now, the standard operating procedure. If you don't have it, you probably need to wait. Finding plays that Jalen is comfortable with, you can do that right now. So the fundamentals, finding that, those would be the two big things. But I would say this, if you're a coach that maybe you say, hey, Jalen can't handle this, well, I'd say then why did you get into coaching? Coaches coach, they teach. Jalen can learn. Like, it's up to you to make an assessment before, like, of any player saying, like, they can't do it. Listen, this guy has shown throughout his entire life that he's a winner. He's still a winner. He's won a Super Bowl MVP. He's a great player. I hope he has a great long career. You had alluded to the Russell Wilson at the end of his career thing. You got to put him in a successful position to be successful. I would say if you're a coach and you have that thought process, that's not the right thought process. That's something you really, hey, this offseason, our emphasis is we're going to take this to the next level. We're going to we're going to give you a couple plays. Hey, we want you, hey, easy, kill. Hey, here's a play, boom. You can teach them that as a coach. So my biggest point is, like, as a coach, if you feel that way, why did you get in the coaching? You got to be able to teach. But once the season starts, you know where your quarterback is. What I see right now is just a lot of half-field reads, and the play actions are really a 1 to 2 to scramble. Very simple. You're not going to have success doing that. You got to have a little bit more if you don't run the ball. Mm-hmm. The key to Jalen and the offense's success, and you've said this, is they have to run the ball, but right now they're not doing that well. So they got to find a way to be able to throw the ball well to open that up, because the O-line's banged up. With Lane Johnson, historically, the O-line without him doesn't have great success. Lane Johnson comes back, my guess is they're going to start running the ball a lot better. And the offense, Lane is a very important, it may be the most important piece to, like, the infrastructure of that offense. But yeah, I think that there's a lot. It's exciting to me. This is not something where a lot of fans and a lot of media is like down. All these notes I look at is like, this is exciting. Mm-hmm. Like, you haven't even gotten close to your ceiling as a offense as Jalen hasn't gotten close to. That's something he can take to the next level. Imagine if Jalen Hurts all of a sudden is like, hey, easy, hey, and he audibles a play, and then it just gashes him. Like, to me, that's a next level in his progression. But he can't do that alone. That is you have to have a attention to detail, fundamentally sound quarterback coach that is dialing that in and knows the offense better than you do. Once again, I don't know their situation with that, but this is my assumptions. There's been media people at practice that can see the pre-practice stuff. You would have a better idea than I do, but just from watching film, this is what I see. That is super exciting as a franchise. Man, we have a quarterback that has given us so much success. Every time we step on the field, we know we can win with him. But man, like, if he takes this step, and it's not a huge one, where like we can give him a couple plays in one, we have a standard operating procedure in here. If he sees a blitz and we don't like the play, he doesn't just throw a go ball and hope it works. Because a lot of times right now I see drop back, throw a go ball, drop back, throw with pressure. Sometimes it works because you got A.J. Brown, you got Devontae Smith. There's higher percentage concepts that you could run like a slot receiver out route, like gain leverage, 1, 2, 3, plant. Let's move on. Let's get a first down. Let's not just go, hey, third down, they blitz, we throw a go. That to me is super exciting and is really bright for the future of the Eagles. So I don't sit here like down on them. Like, man, they haven't even gotten close to their ceiling with Jalen Hurts. They haven't gotten close. Obviously, they've taken a step back offense schematically. But man, right now to conclude this conversation, because I know there's a lot, man. This was a hard one. I had so many notes and I tried to make it concise. I know it got a little all over the place. If I'm doing one thing, I am all week we're going fundamentals.
Yeah, because there were chances to win that game even within the framework of things that they did. Like, without even departing into the things you're talking about, there were still chances to win that game with fundamentals are correct, right? Yeah. And all this comes back to this thing peaking and getting to where it needs to be at the right time. So barring a monumental collapse, this is a playoff team.
Yes.
Because they're going to win their division. And it's, can they correct some of this stuff before entering the playoffs and avoid really the second sort of disappointing year under Nick Sirianni, right? 2 years ago, it was like, hey, we started 10-1. Collapse,
very similar.
Right? Then Super Bowl. Then this year, start strong with a lot of red flags. You want to avoid that collapse and a first-round exit in the playoffs, and these are the things that need to happen. Fundamentals, operating more efficiently within the framework that you currently have, but then that framework can also be like, incrementally improved before you even start thinking about next year, because I do think we'll see some changes this offseason for the Eagles. But that should be very interesting to watch. That's great stuff, Nick, and I know you took a deep dive on that. Before we get to picks, let's take a quick look at something real quick that I think is always interesting, because we're at the point of the season heading into week 15 where the coaching situations get very interesting. So I'm going to give you a name. We're going to make this one quick. It's either going to be cold, warm, hot, or scorching. Basically, inevitable, like a firing is imminent. I'm going to give you some names you might go, well, I didn't even think about that one. Let's start with Mike Tomlin. Where do you have him right now of those four temperatures?
Warm.
I have him warm as well. I think he may end up winning this division. If he does, I don't see him getting fired. And I think the Steelers might be frustrated with that, the fans, but it is what it is. John Harbaugh at 6-7. Likely, I mean, it's a pretty good chance they miss the playoffs. They're like a 33% chance to make it. They are just off in a number of areas. They've had some injuries this year. He's an institution there. What do you think?
I have Warm.
You have Warm?
I think the big thing with him is they'll need a new offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
They need a new offensive coordinator.
I'm going to say Warm as well, only because the standpoint of like there's a window here. And John's a really good coach, so you might immediately say, well, who else are you going to go get? He's a great coach. But there's a window, and windows are tough. If you don't hit them and you don't hit a Super Bowl in that window, it's a failure with this talent, right? Kevin Stefanski at 3-10.
I actually really like Stefanski.
I know you do. That's why I asked.
I have him warm. I don't have him hot. I have him warm.
I got him hot at 3-10.
Yeah.
Here's why. I don't think Shedeur is a long-term answer. They're starting. It's not like they just threw somebody in that's like, okay, I think the organization looks at it like we're not afraid to push reset with Shedeur having a couple decent games. They just lost to the Titans.
Is Dion the head coach?
No.
I don't know. I mean,
I got Stefanski as hot. I just don't think the Browns are going to be afraid to move on.
I actually did have him as hot. I misread, but we'll stick to my one.
And reset a quarterback clock because I don't think they think that Shedeur is the guy. Zach Taylor at 4-9. Joe Burrow's finally back. They definitely look better. Defense is terrible for the most part over the course of the year. 4-9, Zach Taylor.
Man, this one's tough because they let go. If they had their previous defensive coordinator who went to Indy, like they're probably having a lot more success because that's been their downfall. I have them as warm because the offense is doing well, and Joe Flacco did great, and then Joe Burrow's back, and so I have them as warm. They're just gonna have to revamp their defensive staff.
I say warm too, and again, not hot or scorching. I say warm because the way they finished last year when Joe came back, And then the way they've looked with Joe, now they collapsed against Buffalo this past weekend, but the defense is a problem. But he hasn't had Joe as much as he would like. And when Joe is out there, they're still pretty dang good. So I have him as warm. Definitely not cold, but I'm not going to say hot. Pete Carroll's the interesting one.
Yeah.
So I thought when they brought Pete in, he's only on a 3-year deal. So this is, they can get out of this. He's 2-11. I thought the idea was give Pete 3 years. He's an older guy, and get things on track, and then give it to a Pete Carroll disciple moving forward. Have Pete get it right.
I thought that as well.
Pete has fired Chip Kelly. He's got other coaches that are going out the door. It's a disaster in Vegas. I am going to put Pete at hot. Pete is hot between hot and scorching. I don't know if Pete's going to make it to next year.
Yeah.
It is a disaster right now. What do you think?
I know I want it because it's Pete Carroll. I want to say warm, but I agree with you with hot. Just think this is the Raider. If you said the most surprising team, it's not even the Chiefs. It's the Raiders. How I did not expect them to have as many issues as they had this year.
With Chip too? I mean,
I thought they might win 6 or 7 games.
And have hope.
But be close in games. Play decent ball and then build in year 2 under Pete. I have him as hot.
Jonathan Gannon, Arizona Cardinals, they're 3-10. Here's why I think he's hot.
You think he's hot?
I think it's hot. And I think he's borderline scorching too. I think they're going to move on from Kyler Murray, or at least try. I don't know if they're going to be able to trade that contract. They might have to just flat out release him. I don't think they think Kyler's the future anymore. And their defense has not played very well. They've been scrappy at times. If they end up going and getting a new quarterback, I don't think they think that Gannon's the right guy to move forward with this. So if they reset at quarterback, I think they're much more likely to set it at head coach. And I think a reset at quarterback is likely at this point. He is on the line between hot and scorching for me at 3-10.
I have hot. I think they need to reset head coach and quarterback and just reset.
Yep. Mike McDaniel 6-7. We thought Mike might not make it through the year. You know, Devon Achane is leading the league in yards per carry.
Yeah.
And this is primarily a passing team. Granted, they lost Tyreek Hill.
But Mike is historically a run game guru.
Like Kyle Shanahan, right?
That's who he was under.
Yeah, that's his guy.
He was the run game coordinator there and had a lot of great success.
If I'm a Dolphins fan, I'm a little frustrated by this because Mike's doing enough to save his job.
Yeah,
I haven't warmed.
I haven't warmed.
He's doing enough to save his job unless they just have a huge collapse the rest of the season. If they were to finish, they're 6-7 right now. If they finished 6-10 or 6-11, he might be gone. But he's doing enough, and they're running the ball well enough and winning. They're almost 500. I think a lot of Dolphins fans would like to see them move on, but I think he's going to do enough to keep his job.
I agree.
All right, Raheem Morris, 4-9.
Got him hot.
So Raheem has Michael Penix, who flashed at times, but Michael has not shown he's for sure the guy. And they have this weird dynamic with Kirk Cousins, which has also not been great. I think Raheem is hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it too. Here's the one, the only winning record on here. Actually, Mike Tomlin's got a winning record too. Sean McDermott. So I like Sean McDermott. I think he's a good football coach. But again, I'm talking about windows, okay? Windows to win championships. This team is not a well-rounded football team. They found ways to, they had some cool plays on defense, and Josh Allen had a 40-yard touchdown run to win the game against Cincy. Cool. But this roster, which points to the GM too, has holes in it. I wonder if they don't get past the divisional round, which I think there's a good chance they won't, I wonder if people start to wonder, hey, Sean, you've done a great job here, but we need someone that can take us over the top. And as of now, it does not look like with Josh, who's the best player, I think, in the league at that position. With Josh, I don't think we're going to get over this hump with you. You're good. You're going to get us to the playoffs every year. But in Buffalo, our standards have become higher because we have Superman at quarterback and Josh Allen. And for that reason, I think Sean McDermott right now is warm. If he goes out in the divisional round, I think he becomes scorching. Some people might say I'm crazy, but I think the organization is going to look and say, we're just doing the same thing every year. What are we doing? Right? We need someone to just take this thing over the top. And I wonder if it's Sean. So Sean's judged by a different standard. He's 9-4 right now. I understand that's a little wild to suggest that, but he's warm right now. But he'll shoot up to scorching if they lose in the divisional round. That's my prediction.
I have him as cold. I think.
Wow.
I think if you look at the broad perspective of the Bills, I mean, they were so bad for so long after having great success with Jim Kelly.
Well, because they had Josh Allen. That's why if they had an average, if they had a decent quarterback, if they had an above average quarterback, this team would be under 500. That's concerning to me.
Yeah, it is. But McDermott, I think what he's done there, sustained success year in and year out, having a chance. I mean, it reminds me of Andy Reid for most of his years. successful, making the playoffs, and it took a long time to get him to a Super Bowl, but then he rattled off 3 Super Bowls, obviously, and he has Pat Mahomes.
Fair,
so
but,
Josh
but,
Allen.
but what if they lose in the division?
So there's also like Brian Daboll. He's on the road. Like he's on the streets. Can you bring him back in as the OC?
The first 8 games of the season, the Bills were the favorite to win the Super Bowl because everyone knows what Josh is capable of, and there's talent on this roster. If they lose again, I'm saying if in the divisional round, I'm telling you, people are going to look at it and say you're kind of just the same every year, and it's not good enough.
I mean, you also risk like you get someone else in there and it just falls apart. I mean, at least McDermott has given you a strong foundation where you're like in it every single year. I don't think.
Well, then just stay with Mike Tomlin then. And John Harbaugh.
I think Mike Tomlin will be there.
Okay.
I think he's warm, but I think he'll be there. I mean, he was hot like a week or 2 ago, but I think he's warm.
Okay, they're not. Remember, the Patriots are good again. They're not. They're probably not going to win the division. They might. They probably won't.
Yeah.
So there could be a new sheriff in town in the AFC East. It's very possible. All right, real quick, Week 15 playoff clinching scenarios. So in Week 15, we're already at a point where there's 3 teams that can clinch as of now. It's that time of year where every scenario is looked at. Denver can clinch a playoff berth this weekend with a win or a tie with help. They are home against the Packers. Okay? When I say clinch a playoff berth, not the division, they can just clinch a playoff berth. The Patriots can clinch a division-winning playoff berth, giving them a home game, at least a home game, maybe a bye, with a win over Buffalo. We're going to get to that line in a second. That's one of the most interesting lines of the season is the Patriots at home against the Bills.
You're going to have to explain that one to me in detail.
So the Patriots can clinch the AFC East with a win, or they can simply clinch a playoff berth, which means at least a wild card spot with a tie and some help across the board, some other teams losing. So big weekend for the Patriots. They can clinch their division this week if they beat the Bills at home.
In Week 15, that's great.
The Rams can clinch a playoff berth, not the division, but a playoff berth with a win at home against Detroit this week. We have some great games this week.
Yeah, we do.
So the Rams win this week. They're at the very least a wild card team and they're in, but they still want to win their division, possibly get a 1 seed. We are on to picks, baby. All right, so there are some awesome games this weekend, some great matchups, and we're going to focus on the ones we think are most important. Let's start with the Chargers at Kansas City. This matters because Kansas City technically is still alive. They need the Chargers to lose, and then coincidentally, they played the Chargers. Kansas City is minus 4.5. I know Justin Herbert was far from perfect in this game. He was a very gutsy performance. The Chargers do really well defensively. They still don't protect all that well with guys hurt up front. Chiefs are a 4.5-point favorite when this thing feels all but done for them. Statistically, they're not done. What do you think minus 4.5?
I think because of the strength of the Chargers defense, I think that's going to take them through this game and they're going to win it. It's not going to be because of the Chargers offense. I think I was just so impressed when I was going through the Chargers playing the Eagles, just the defensive coverages, the play calls, how everything was dialed in. They have like some similarities with the Chiefs a little bit just because of, the history. But I just like the Chargers, man. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a shootout, but I love the Chargers defense. I love what Jesse Minter's doing. That was an unbelievable game he called last game, and I think he's going to be dialed up this game, ready to roll.
I think on the psyche of a championship team like the Chiefs the last few years, the psyche was damaged last week. I really believe that. And I think there's people that know that, hey, we're probably not going to make the playoffs. And there's people in that organization I know are already thinking for the future. They're not all of a sudden just going to turn it on offensively. I certainly am not laying 4.5. You might think Chiefs win, but I would not take 4.5.
Yeah.
I'm taking plus 4.5 for the Chargers on this one. All right. This one.
Yeah, explain this one to me. I don't get this one.
So Buffalo coming off a big win against Cincy. It was kind of ugly at first, and then they had a big defensive touchdown. Then they had another interception that resulted in a touchdown. Then they had a Josh Allen untouched 40-yard run for a touchdown before all that. Buffalo is at New England. New England is on a hell of a win streak right now. Is it 9 or 10 in a row? Buffalo is a 1-point favorite in Foxborough. Now, keep in mind, New England, we thought they were going to face some adversity because their left tackle, Will Campbell's out, and their guard, who's also a rookie, is questionable. I think he might be out too with an ankle. Or he's banged up at the very least. Buffalo at New England, Buffalo -1. Obviously, Vegas knows if we lay this line, this is their gamble. If we lay this line, be ready for people to jump all over the Patriots.
Yeah.
Okay, because we're giving plus money. Like the Patriots' money line is going to be a little better than even money. We're giving plus money at home to the Patriots, and they're 11-2. And Drake May's playing at an MVP level, and Mike Vrabel's a really good football coach, and the Bills are a roster with holes, but Josh Allen's really good.
Yeah.
Vegas is laying it. They know the public money is probably going to be 70% Pats, maybe more, maybe 80% Patriots. and they lay it at -1. Buffalo. What do you got?
I got New England. I mean,
I'll take the trap too. It feels like a trap,
Yeah.
but I'll take it.
I'll take the trap on this
Yeah.
one for sure.
I'll take the trap. I think the Patriots are just a more well-rounded football team, and I think they know the task at hand. They're not overlooking the Bills.
No.
They beat the hell out of the Bills in Buffalo. They controlled that whole game several weeks ago. What a great opportunity for the Patriots, and I know Mike Vrabel's going to have these dudes ready to play.
He's not going to let them be complacent.
Yeah.
He's going to have them ready to go and locked in, ready to roll.
Yeah. I mean, Bills are coming off a couple of very impressive wins. The Steelers, they were down in both tackles, won. They were in a hole they were at a deficit against the Bengals multiple times throughout the game, even in the fourth quarter. And their defense made some plays, and Josh Allen showed up in the snow game at home.
Yeah.
Okay, now they go to New England. I will jump on this trap. I will take New England money line. I don't even need the +1. Give me New England money line. This is a big one. Green Bay at Denver. Both teams vying for that number 1 spot in their respective conferences. Green Bay in the NFC, Denver in the AFC. Green Bay goes 2 Mile High and is a 2.5-point favorite. Green Bay -2.5. I'm going to be honest with you. I think the Broncos feel like a team that could be like 14-3 heading into the playoffs and lose in the first round.
I agree.
Oh, if they're 14-3, they'll have a bye. So losing their first game.
Yeah.
Is my word. They are hanging on every single game. Bo Nix has had three games where he's played much better. But is it sustainable? Honestly, the Bears feels more sustainable to me. I don't know why, because the Broncos are so good defensively. They get after the passer. They protect Bo Nix. But the books obviously think there's holes with Denver. Green Bay's favored. Green Bay -2.5 at Denver.
I got Denver. I just think they're learning how to win. I know it's not like I agree with you. They could easily exit the first round they play, but they're finding ways to win in the fourth quarter continuously, and that tells me that they, no matter what, believe they're going to win, and that matters, especially at home against the Green Bay team. I have Denver winning this game.
I agree with you. I think Denver. Well, I think to be clear, I think Green Bay is a contender. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. Both defenses are good, and both offenses can get pretty stagnant. But I think Denver, once again, will find a way to win. If this were a playoff game, I don't know why I would feel maybe a little bit differently. Mm-hmm. But I do like Denver to win this game at home. Green Bay's playing well. Christian Watson has come on. Jordan Love has had 7 touchdowns over the last 2 games. Their defense is really good. Micah Parsons has been awesome. Yeah. That's a win for the Packers and a win. Cowboys have done just fine without him in a lot of ways, right? It's a win for both. But I'm still taking Denver in this one. I'm not laying, although that's also a trap. So we're jumping on 2 traps. Patriots, from the book standpoint, trap. No question. It's like, here, take the cheese, right? Denver, you want to take Denver plus money at home? That's a trap. Normally, I'll go the other way. For a team that plays defensively like they do and just find ways to win, I'm willing to jump on both of those traps at home. You're going to give me points for really good teams at home in the NFL. I'm going to take it. Last one, Detroit at the Rams. Detroit's coming off correcting some offensive issues against what appears to now be a bad Dallas defense again. They scored over 40 points against Dallas's defense that had looked good and then fell apart. But Detroit's got obviously plenty of playmakers. But the Rams, they bounced back in a big way after losing to Carolina. The Rams are favored by 5.5 at home against Detroit. Rams -5.5. What do you like?
This is a tough one.
It's really hard.
This is a tough
5.5 is such an ugly number too.
I mean, this is one that I think, I agree with you on that. I'm going to go with Rams. I think Stafford, I think it's at home, not an East Coast game. I like him. I like him dialing it up and doing what he's been doing all year.
I'm going to take Detroit plus 5.5. I think the Rams win the game. I'll probably tease them to 0 or down 6 points, so +0.5. I don't trust the Rams to win by more than like 6 or more because I think Detroit is back in a mode where like, okay, it's go time for Detroit. Like they're flirting with missing the playoffs too if they lose a couple more games, which is shocking.
Yeah.
But what did we say at the beginning of the year? New coordinators and a tough schedule.
Yeah.
This is going to be – and they have had coordinator issues. Dan Campbell's now like calling plays along with I can't remember his name, John something. He's calling plays with him, right? The fact I don't know his name tells you. It's like it's hard, right? Yeah. The schedule's brutal. But they've got some key pieces back. I think they're going to be fine. This is going to be a close football game, a really good football game for that matter. I will take Detroit plus 5.5 though. This is going to be a good week. We're going to get some more clarity this week based on how things go on. Who's going to get buys? Who's going to win divisions? Stuff should start to come into focus.
What coaches seat gets scorching?
That's right. And then we had a lot of Philly discussion, obviously, and the Phillies get the Raiders at home. If we're not going to pick that line at -11, but I'm telling you right now, if we're having a discussion next week that Philly really struggled and either barely beat the Raiders or lost to the Raiders, oh my God. for the sake of everything, I hope that's not where we're going. I hope the Eagles can get back on track against a Raiders team and take care of business.
If there's ever a time, I know our discussion was, there's a lot to it with Philadelphia, but if there's ever a time to put everything into effect and have a complete game as a team and take a breath, it's this week against the Raiders at home. There's never a better time. This is a perfect time to sort of start rebounding and getting back to, honestly, I won't even say getting back this year. I don't even think their offense has ever gotten there. But, like, find something before the playoffs. Like, you got to find it. You can still find it. I still believe in them. I still believe they can do it. Like, all my analysis was like, this is what I would do to increase the chances of better performance, which leads to more success, which leads to peaking going in the playoffs. Against the Raiders this week, against a bad Raiders team, this is the week. Now, I agree. If it's another subpar performance, we'll be ready. That could be really rough.
We'll be ready. Stay tuned in.
Big week for the Eagles.
We'll be ready. That is episode 18. Remind everyone, check us out on social media at The Season Pod, the SZN Pod on Instagram, on our YouTube channel. On Instagram, we have the links to all those as well. YouTube channel, obviously, and then on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. And should we do Season Pod from the Zach Brown Band concert at the Sphere? Maybe do an episode, little mini pod from the Sphere.
We'll see what's going on.
If
we got a group, so we'll see.
We might, let's put it this way.
It might not be on our mind.
We might hit you from Vegas. We might. If we hit you with the mini pod from Vegas or like a little Instagram live thing, check it out, because it means it's worth your time if we're doing it. As always, thank you for listening. That is episode 18.